Hello guys. Hello. Basta.
Hello, what's up? It's been a long day.
Hello. So guys, hello. Welcome to our live stream Q&A with Full Stack HQ. As usual, we are your host. I am Nix.
I'm Annie.
I'm Calvin.
He is Calvin.
Yes, I'm Calvin.
So, kumusta naman kayo guys? So, napakatagal na panahon na hindi kami napag-stream. Siyempre, dumaan yung Pasko,
Napakatagal, no?
dumaan yung ating bagong taon. Kumusta naman ang inyo?
Parang 1 year, no?
kumusta yung
Ako
New Year
okay
mo?
lang naman. Ang New Year ko, ang Pasko ko, peaceful.
Oh,
Sa bahay lang
sana
kami.
all.
Diba?
Calvin, ikaw, kamusta ka naman?
Ganda naman, Sob. Yung New Year, okay lang. Wala na putukan, so safe lahat. Nice.
Kamusta dyan sa Saudi?
Oo nga.
Okay naman,
Di ba
okay naman.
mainit dyan?
Malamig, malamig.
Shoutout muna natin yung viewers.
Malamig siya.
Mga viewers natin, sino ba nandyan? Hello. Sino ba yung mga nandyan? Sander.
Si Arvin
kay Sir
Medino.
Sander.
Sir Arvin, hello. Andiyan ka na naman
Wow.
pala. Hi.
Si
Aleli.
Sino ba yan? Aleli? Mark Javords. Sino pa?
What's up?
Marvin Sumabong. Hello, nandiyan ka ulit. Coming from YouTube.
Yes,
John
sir.
Albert.
John Albert.
Oh, shoutout kay John Albert. Oh, pahingi daw
Ayun,
pa-date sa Feb 14. Naku.
Oh, nako, baka dito na makita yung kadate mo.
Yan, si Annie.
Ako.
Ay, available ba yan si Annie?
Ayun, no?
Hi.
Hi.
Sino ba?
Hello, hello.
Dyan? Si Sel, Mandigpa, Delio, Junior, Alina, Tablang. Hello! Welcome sa stream.
Yan, oo.
Charawat daw. Ay, si Ricardo. Hello, Sob.
Si
Kamusta ka, Sob?
Ricardo
Hello,
Divisman. Hello. Ayun, no? So, sana okay naman kayo
Ayun.
dyan at nalalayo kayo sa sakit. Siyempre, hindi pa natatapos yung ating pandemic.
Yes.
So, Annie, paano ba yung Q&A natin?
O nga, syempre bago tayo pumunta dyan, buwan na naman ng mga puso.
Mm.
Dahil dyan, ay yung mga iba dyan, nagbisi sila bakit yung mga pagiging artistic nila, di ba?
Hello. Nagsusurprise ba yan?
Syempre, may mga iba, dahil artistic, parang yun na, pag-uusapan na natin yung art. So, ngayong araw na to ay pag-uusapan natin yung art. Pero speaking of art, marami kasi, malawak kasi yung art eh.
Oo.
So, may mga photography yan, may dance, may singing, and so on. So, ngayon, araw na to, pag-uusapan natin drawing, illustration. Kaya mamaya, pagkikilala natin yung ating guest na nandito lang. Okay.
Kuwari, wala. Huwag niyo munang
Bago
pansinin.
yan, dahil dito, pwede kayong manalo ng mga prizes, exciting prizes. Ang gagawin
Yes.
nyo lang ay, paano ba quiz?
Yun, mag-send lang kayo
Yes,
na mag-send ng mga questions sa ating comment section, then pipili kami dyan. Tapos, dadaan namin sa randomizer para makakuha tayo ng mga winners. Yun. Yung randomizer natin, di ba dati, well picker. Ngayon, duck race siya. So, mamaya papakita ni Nix and Annie kung paano mangyayari yun. Yun, yung mga, yung mga pwede nating mapanalunan ay eto sa screen. Ayan. So, one winner of number 2 metal paintbrush with ink and sketchbook. One winner na metal paintbrush, brush pens and sketchbooks. One winner ng brush pens and sketchbook. At saka 2 winners ng Full Stack HQ shirt, yung t-shirt na hindi nilalaban. Yon. Hello. Nawala ata. Nawala kayong sound sa Ani. Meron tayong technical difficulties. Wait lang, Sob. Nawalan kayo ng sound. Ani, nawalan kayong sound. Meron po tayong technical difficulties. Wait lang. Wala pa rin kayong sound. Naka-mute kayo? Naka-mute ba? Tanungin natin yung stream kung may sound na sila. May sounds na ba sila? Mga kababayan. Yan. Wait lang po mga sirs. Kami po yung nagkakaroon ng technical difficulties. Wala daw oh. Thank you Selman Digma. Wala daw kayong sounds mga sub. Thanks Deku Saldivar. Oo nga eh. Ako lang, di ko din sila naririnig.
Hello?
Ayan. Ayan,
we're
nagkaroon. Ayan na.
Sorry. Nagkaroon ka ng technical problem
Na
sa
ano?
internet. Napakabilis kasi hindi nakasabay ang ating
Napaos.
Pero
Yan,
live
no?
kasi live tayo. Kaya
live
nangyari
kasi to,
talaga
live
yan.
to, hindi to recorded, live to.
So, yan
Yes.
malalaman nyo na live talaga kami
Sorry.
Sana tayo sob. Kay Ani na tayo.
Oo. Ayan, yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? May chance kayong manalo ng mga exciting prizes like ng mga art tools. Meron pa kayong chance manalo sa isang challenge natin na hashtag FullStackHQ Poster Making 2021 or hashtag FSHQ Poster Making 2021. Oh my God.
Chill ka lang.
Tongue twister yun, Kuya Sa.
Kasi HQ.
Pero
Abis-
makikita niyo yung post dyan or yung full mechanics dyan on our social media accounts. So,
Yun, ah.
kaya sa mga hindi pa nagsasubmit na kanilang entry, naku, mag-submit na kayo dahil ang deadline namin ay
Submit.
on February 13, 2021.
February
Sakit
13,
pakinggan ng
that's
deadline,
before
so.
Valentine's Day.
Oo.
You know? So, alam ba?
Okay.
Introduce
Yan
na natin ating guest. So,
Huwag natin
nakikita nyo naman,
patagalin.
shh. Ang ating guest ngayon is walang iba kundi si Christopher Isaacson. You know?
Ayun oh.
So, hindi nyo, parang short na ano lang sa ating guest na malalaman nyo na talaga siya isang magaling na artist. You know, sila lang naman yung nanalo ng best thesis noon nung college siya.
Sure.
Ang title nun is Art Block, a 2D animated film promoting art as a sustainable career. Ayun, no? Yun. Christopher Isaacson. Ayun, no? So, nagturo rin siya sa mga multiple workshops noon for artists for over 2 semesters. Ayun, I think sa school to, no? Ayun, no? Yun, no? So, trivia rin, guys. Kung hindi nyo alam, kung nakikita nyo si Bootstrap, ang ating mascot, siya lang naman yung gumawa sa ating mascot. Walang iba kundi si Chris Isaacson. Ayun, no? Kamusta? Anong
Yes.
can you say?
Sir.
Hi, kamusta ka, Chris? Welcome.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
You know, hello. Say hi to our guest.
Oh.
Paunawa lang handa natin mga tissue natin kasi English speaker siya.
English spokening.
I will
Spokening.
say that myself. So throughout the entire stream, I will be speaking English.
Yep, no problem.
Reason for that is because, well, I can speak Filipino, but not under pressure. I don't want to accidentally mistranslate myself or embarrass myself. But don't worry, just as I say that, I'm going to find a different way to embarrass myself.
Live? Let's
it
go! Ayun na.
We know it's going to happen.
Oo nga, yun Quiz kasi na-mention nga ni Quiz Nix na ikaw nga yung co-creator ng Bootstrap and very own artist namin dito sa Fullstack HQ.
Yep.
So, kwentuhan mo naman kami. I'm sure curious ang ating audience na malaman kung sino ba ang behind the art ng Fullstack HQ mascot na Bootstrap. So, kwenta.
So, a little bit of an introduction, I guess. So, I started. My interest in art started as a child. I think most people start drawing when they're children.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interest in art and storytelling. I think it must have started when the very first Sam Raimi Spider-Man film came out, right?
No, very first.
I think when that came out, and then all of a sudden everything that I'd be interested in started to follow after that. So like the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, I loved that as a kid. Then there's the Batman the animated series, the 2004 animated series. There was a He-Man cartoon from 2002. I like the Star Wars.
Star Wars fan, ha?
And then somewhere by the time I reached the age of 12, I started to get interested in comic books, and I was always amazed by the artwork that was within those comic books. people like Mark Bagley, John Buscema, Alex Toth. Just there's a whole lot of artists that I was just interested in, and I think by the age of 14, 15, I think this is where everyone has to decide what do I want to be when I grow up, right?
Mhm. The biggest
You're soon to get out of high school, and I tried other things. I tried music and failed. I tried accounting and failed. I tried sports and failed.
Failed.
Somewhere down the line, I decided that I was even going to sign up to the military, but realized
Whoa.
that wasn't for me. So eventually I settled on the idea that I happen to like drawing, and maybe I could turn it into a job. Maybe I could make something out of it. Maybe I could do it professionally, pay my bills like every other adult, right?
Mhm.
And so from there on out, that began my journey as an artist. So I went to college as an IT animation student. So I learned a little bit of programming, a little bit of web development, a little bit of animation as well. And it was around this time where I was making editorial comics for the college publication. I was also teaching at workshops, as we mentioned a while ago. And I did that and started just learning and mastering my craft as much as I could at such a limited level, until eventually I graduated along with my thesis mates, my friends, my peers, and then I had to start looking for a job. Right, everyone had to start looking for a job, and
Yep.
that was just about 8 months of a struggle because
8 months of applying for a job.
I sent out my portfolio to a bunch of companies, and I got rejected 6 times, and ignored the other times until
that
eventually
happens.
Full Stack decided to give. I was fortunate enough that an employer decided to give me a chance. Right, they gave me a chance. They put me through the whole probation period of being an employee. I passed all the tests, and here I am, three years later, still working for Full Stack.
Wow.
All right.
Right. So, guys, kung napapansin nyo, Chris started very young sa kanyang career when it comes to drawing. So, I can say naman na it takes time to become a great artist. It takes a lot of patience, perseverance, di ba?
Oo.
So, hindi siya madali.
Oo.
Sure.
Tsaka
You
i-take
know?
din nila ng positive yung failures kasi yung failures, dun din yung path nila para sa success.
So, for our first question, so Chris,
Right.
some artists refuse to take up their profession because they claim that there is no money in art. So, what are your thoughts about it? So, in Tagalog, sabi nila, yung sa profession nila, wala daw pera. Wala daw way na pagkakakitaan yung when it comes to art. So, anong masasabi mo doon?
Well, I got a lot of things to say, but and we're gonna have a whole 10 points of what I think every artist should know.
Yep.
So when starting out, now, so art as a profession, right? I got my little hand-lettered index cards right here. So to start, who is this for? Who is this live stream for? Well, just gathering my thoughts real quick.
So go.
Who is this for? Right.
Yun na.
Now, this lesson or a little interview, everything that I have to say is mainly aimed towards people who have the idea of becoming a professional artist. Maybe you are a college student about to graduate, or maybe you're a high school student who just got out of high school and are deciding what course to get into. I think when you are at the age of 15, 16, this is the point where where you're just trying to figure out what exactly you want to do as a professional, and you got all these ideas, and for whatever reason, everyone else seems to have an idea of what you should be as a professional, what you should do professionally. They might tell you that, oh, you need to be an engineer, or you need to be a lawyer, or a doctor, or a computer programmer, something that is, quote, a real job, right? But if you have the idea or the thought that I happen to like drawing, maybe, just maybe, I could turn it into a career, then you've come to the right place, because I'm here to help you prepare, or maybe even convince you that that you can turn art into a job. And if you really tried and you just change a few ways of thinking, which I will get into, you can make it happen. You could be a professional. Okay, so also I need to define some terms. I have I don't know if you could read these, but so some terms first. First off, art. Now, art is a very wide topic, or there are different forms of art, because music is an art, filmmaking is an art, photography is an art, literature, of like poetry. There are different forms of art, but today, anytime I say art, I'm referring to mainly drawing, painting, and even sculpting. I think people might be caught off guard with sculpting, but if you look at the stuff that's going on in the toy industry, it's actually kind of amazing what you can do in that area. Next is the difference between a professional and an amateur. Now, when you say, most people, when they say you are a pro, that means that you're good, that you're at a high level of skill. Or being an amateur means that you're poor, your abilities are low or not good. But really, the difference between a professional and an amateur is that a professional artist and an amateur artist is that a professional artist does art and earns money from it. An amateur artist practices art and does not earn money from it. So this could be a hobbyist, right? You can be an excellent artist, but never decide to do it as a professional, which is actually okay, because trying to turn art into a profession is a lot more difficult than what most people think. It's a lot of work. So people thinking that there's no money in art, this will lead me to my first point for today out of 10. First off, if there's one thing that you should listen to, only one out of if you have to choose between one of the 10 things I'm going to say, it would be this. This is the most important. First, you must love art and the act of creating art.
Yeah.
Those are two different things, because you can love art and not be an artist.
Right?
As in, maybe you are a fan of anime. You love art. You love anime. So, but you're not necessarily an artist. So you must love art and the act of creating art. So, and the reason for this is that why this is a must is because art is one of the hardest things to turn into a job. It's right up there with all the other courses that take 8-10 years to master.
Mhm.
You know, if it takes 10 years to become a doctor,
Yep.
or 10 years to become a lawyer, it's going to take a substantial amount of time to become a good artist. So, the love for the craft is the most important and valid reason to become an artist. So why? Well, you can't really get into art for the money because there are easier ways to make money. Art is very difficult to earn money from, and not impossible. And the big bucks tend to be reserved for the ones who are extraordinary. Oh, battery exhausted. Battery
Sige,
just went out.
Sige, kunin mo yung...
Okay lang, okay lang.
Okay lang.
Continue.
Sige, continue.
Oh, it's this one that went out.
Yeah.
All
Sige.
right. You can't do art for the fame or glory because, well, why would you? Why would you do anything for fame or glory? And you can't just do it for fun because not every day is going to be fun. Most days are going to be hard work, and that's just the reality of it. So, first off, you must love art and the act of creating art. This will get you through the difficult times. I hear loud footsteps behind me.
That's Calvin.
Okay, so that covers the first point.
Mhm.
Yung second
Pero
question.
kayo ba, sa'yo ba, quiz? Kasi na-mention mo nga kanina, may mga iba-ibang klaseng artists. Paano mo ba ma-describe yung sarili mo as an artist?
Well, you know,
That's all.
hello sa ating technical artist.
It was just fixing the camera. So, I am an illustrator.
Mhm.
My job here in Full Stack is to create cartoon illustrations that are primarily used for websites. In this case, lately it's been our Facebook page and all the
Thanks.
posts that we make. We also create art for some merchandise. I'm also an aspiring comic artist and writer. So you'll see I'll be demonstrating a little bit later. So this moves us to our second point.
Mhm.
Number 2 of the things that you should know before getting into art as a professional. Be specific on what kind of artist you want to be and do your research. So what does this mean? Well, I've had people tell me that I want to be a professional artist. Okay, then my follow-up question to them is, well, what kind of artist? Because there are different kinds. And this is one thing that makes art as a career, or as a profession, really interesting, because there's such a variety, and you're not restricted to one. So maybe you want to become a manga artist, right?
Mhm.
I'm assuming that a lot of our viewers here are interested in anime and manga. So
Yep,
maybe
yep.
you want to make one of your own. Or maybe you want to be an animator and you want to do in-between animation, right? Drawing each individual frame. Or maybe you want to be a storyboard artist. A storyboard artist is the person who translates the script to rough drawings to show how the story of an episode of a TV show or even a film is going to flow. Or maybe you are a character designer or a costume designer, right? You design the costumes that are going to be used in films. Or maybe you are a book illustrator.
Mhm.
Someone writes someone writes a novel, right? and your job is to illustrate the covers for said novels, or maybe there are chapter illustrations, and each chapter has its own drawing, and your job is to add the drawings inside of that. There is just so many different types of jobs that you can get into, and you need to find the right one for you. But here's the thing: you're not restricted to one, and this is what makes art as a profession interesting, kind of exciting, is because if you take one job as an artist, that doesn't mean that you're stuck there, and that you can't take a different job as an artist. Like, for example, a dentist cannot just decide to become a surgeon. Those are two different studies.
Yep.
In themselves. But an animator can become a comic book artist, or an in-betweener can become a storyboard artist or a character designer. It's just that it requires different skills that are already going to be in the artist's tool belt. Now, that covers the first half of that. The second one is do your research. This is very important because so many people they really put themselves in a lot of trouble when they don't do their research before getting into a job or applying for one. For example, what are employers looking for in the studio? Like, if you're going to go into animation, Pixar, one of the animation studios, they have different ideas of what they expect in portfolios than another studio like Blue Sky. Their brands are different, so you can't just submit the same portfolio to them. You have to have a portfolio designed for Pixar projects, and you have to have a portfolio designed for Blue Sky projects. If you're going to get into anime, right? You're not going to submit a portfolio that has realistic drawings. You're not going to send in portraits to mangaka editor, right? Manga editor, because they're not looking for portrait artists. So another one is that you should know who are the people that are in that industry, right? So, like, for example, I want to get into, I don't know, say comic books, Western comic books, right? So I need to know who are the artists that are currently working there. Maybe I should know what is the average payment that each person gets from this company, that company, and the other company. Or I should know what do they expect in the portfolios, right? What's going to get me rejected immediately if I send this in my portfolio? There's just so many things that you need to know, and all you need to do is just search it up. The internet is available to you. You're using it right now to view this.
Yeah.
So do your research first before applying for any art job. Well, any job, really.
Actually, yeah.
Any job.
You need to know what you're applying for.
Yeah. And, who are the people there? Know, if you're going to get into sports, you need to know who are the players on a team, right?
Yep.
Like, who are the different players within the team? Actually, who are the different teams?
Right.
So, that's point number 2. Moving on.
Next question. So Chris, how will you tell if your art is a career? Yung, kumbaga, paano mo masasabi na career mo na si art?
Art is a career.
Yep.
Well, if you are working long enough
Mhm.
to the point where you could pay just your regular bills, you know, if you're able to pay your rent, you're able to buy your own food, um, basically do anything that a normal adult should do,
Of course.
and do it with the money you earn as an artist, then you're a professional artist. But here goes point number 3. Art isn't just a career. It's a way of living and a way of thinking. As soon as you start taking art seriously, you start to see the world differently. You know, you start to pay attention to the different designs and shapes and colors of things. Your mind is always going to be active creatively. The more you exercise it, right? I could be in a conversation with someone, and then in the back of my mind, I got this this thing that's collecting story ideas, right? Or ideas that I could draw later on. Maybe I see something funny on the street, and I'm like, oh, I could turn that into a drawing, right? I could sketch this. A fun little game that my friends and I did back in college was that we always saw strange people, right? Strangely dressed people, but and then they always looked interesting. They'd be wearing just some bizarre things. I once saw a tricycle driver wearing, you know, he was wearing an orange hat, orange jersey, orange shorts,
Orange shoes.
and
Socks.
dishwashing gloves.
What?
He was wearing dishwashing gloves while driving. I'm like,
What?
I gotta draw that. And so I did. I drew it.
Instant design inspiration, drawing inspiration.
Yeah, it's just there. Um, and also, when you are an artist and you're doing it as a job, and it kind of takes over your life basically, because all of a sudden now all you ever talk about is art. Your friends get annoyed of you because you can't stop talking about drawing. In a group of friends, you might be the one person who is carrying a sketchbook around. Like you just pull it out of your backpack. Maybe you're at a restaurant. This is me all the time. Like we're at a restaurant with some friends hanging out, and then I pull out my sketchbook and I just start drawing people. But I'm still talking, of course. It's just that, you know, you just draw. It's what I just draw. It's what I do. It becomes part of who you are, and just I don't know, playing to that will just lead to will just make you a better artist. You'll be more creative. You'll be happier, basically. Just embracing the idea that you're an artist.
Like for example, Chris, parang marunong ka lang mag-drawing, can you claim na artist ka na, or do you have to have an education, or meron ka bang kailangan na i-take na lesson para maging kang ganap na artist?
Kailangan mo ng college degree? Or ba
Oo.
dyan?
Oo. Kailangan ba yun?
It's funny how this is conveniently leading us to every single point, right? We're just smoothly segueing into each one. Number 4, you don't need an education. I mean, you need an education. That was
Okay.
I got that so wrong. You need an education,
Okay.
but it does not need to be formal.
Yep.
Here's the thing. People don't care where you learn to draw.
Right.
When you're an artist, they don't care about your resume. This is another thing that makes art unique, because all employers care about is what you have in your portfolio. You don't care. They don't care if you came from the best universities in the world for art.
Right.
They don't care if you learned to draw from YouTube videos. In my case, I learned mainly from books from the 1920s to 80s.
19 lost in time.
You know, that's where most of my education came from, where I learned. But I landed the job. And it wasn't even because I had a degree.
That's right.
Now,
Mhm.
this is not to say that you shouldn't go to college, because that's not what I'm saying. I went to college,
Mm.
right? It's just that just know that you don't need to if it's not an option for you. But if it is an option, I suggest take it. Go for it. Because there are some things that you learn in or in animation anywhere else, right? Like, or well, you will learn it, just in not the best way. So, when you're a student, you learn things like dealing with deadlines, exercising, or working on multiple projects at once. You know, you got your English class, your PE class, your drawing class, your math class, and for whatever reason, all of them want you to submit assignments tomorrow, right? And now you need to be able to finish all of these things and meet your deadlines, right? Now, the hard lesson is failing to do these things. Now, if you're in school and you fail, or at something, anything, you embarrass yourself. You learn it in school, and now you learn not to do those things, because if you're not going to learn it in school, you're going to end up learning the same thing in your job. So instead of embarrassing yourself in school, you're going to embarrass yourself in your job, because one way or another, you are going to learn how to certain things that involve like working with a team, learning to deal with other people, accepting criticism from your teachers or the people that are in charge, right? Or maybe you're a leader, you're the group leader. Now you need to know how to lead a project. Or maybe you're not the leader, and now you need to know how to follow your leader and trust in your leader, right? So there are all these things that you learn in school that are important for when you get into art as a professional. So, I could see all the questions rolling out now.
Later, we are going to answer the questions later. You know. So, Chris, you have something to say? Something else to say?
I think that covers point number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you believe that practice makes perfect? I know this is applicable on almost all skills, di ba?
It's almost
Di ba? But does it apply din ba sa art when it comes
Yeah.
to drawing?
Mhm.
You know. So what can you say?
So, got into a debate with other artist friends in here, and I'm gonna end up saying something that is gonna confuse the heck out of a lot of people. But practice does not make perfect. It does not. Practice makes permanent. Did our camera just go? Our camera just went up.
Go on.
Okay, so practice makes permanent. What does this mean? Well, I'll give an example. Let's say you're practicing drawing a dolphin, right? But your drawing of a dolphin happens to look like a snake. It's a snake. By the way, this is a true story and it actually happened, which is why I keep using it as an example.
Your experience?
Oh, no.
Not
Thank
ours.
goodness it's not me. No.
Okay.
I'm the witness. But your drawing happens to look, your dolphin looks like a snake. And
What?
Oh my god, I remember drawing.
You keep practicing. So you're practicing this over and over and over again. So you're practicing it.
Yep.
The only thing you're going to accomplish from practicing drawing your snake-looking dolphins is getting really good at drawing snake-looking dolphins. That's all you would have accomplished. So what is the solution to this? How do you stop drawing snake-looking dolphins? Well, you need to study.
Mhm.
This goes back to you need an education, right? I mentioned just the previous point. Uh, practice is nothing without study. You need to study, and then you practice it, right? So, look into art books, right? Scroll through Pinterest and start drawing from reference, drawing from photos, right? Look for online lessons. For a teacher, someone who can teach you to draw certain things.
Mhm.
There is such so much to learn in art that humans just don't live long enough to learn everything, right? You're never going to be perfect.
That's
You're
right.
never going to be the perfect artist.
Mhm.
So, but you can become a great artist who's also professional and pays their bills.
That's right.
You don't need
You're
to
not-
be perfect
Yep.
To do that. I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
I'm
Like
not perfect.
I can draw, but I can't paint. I can't paint. I want to learn to paint, but so how would I do that? Well, I need to study,
Mm.
and then I need to practice. Right? Random.
Minumulto na yata kami. Biglang
Oo.
meron na gano'n.
Yung mga may makatok dito.
Biglang may kumakatok.
Okay.
Ayun na, yun na.
So, practice does not make permanent. I mean, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
That's great.
Oh, so if you are looking for something to study, right? I could give you one recommendation real quick.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm just gonna write it down. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get my
Pen.
pen.
And
So, let's see.
what's that?
Uh, It's getting really quiet all of a sudden. No worries. What? Oh. It's
What's that?
Wala. Hello.
Hello?
Kamusta naman kayo dyan?
just writing something.
Ah,
So, binabasa namin yung sinusulat ni Chris. Nakikita
Okay.
nila ng ating viewers yan sa ating camera number 2.
akala ko
So,
nawala
habang
na naman kayo sound.
Nasusulat si
So, here we
Chris,
go.
no?
I just
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
write it
pala.
real quick. So this is Dig Your Drawing for What It's Worth by Andrew
Andrew
Loomis. This is
Loomis.
the book that I learned to draw people from.
Mhm.
This is how I learned to draw the human body, right? I recommend this book if you're wanting to learn how to draw figures. This will keep you busy for pretty much the rest of your life. You're going to learn it, and then you're going to come back to it repeatedly. I still come back to it, and I still pick up new things to learn. My handwriting is crap, but let me just say, Figure Drawing for What It's Worth by Andrew Loomis. It's an old
Andrew
book.
Loomis. I know.
Study it. You'll get a lot
It's
out
one of
of it.
our resources.
Probably don't study it in public because there's a lot of nudity in it because that's how you learn anatomy and figure drawing. It's just the way it is. Right?
So, Chris, yan, yung mga nakwento mong yan, no? Pero ikaw ba, personally, have you ever received criticism or negative feedback? And paano mo sila hinandle?
Okay, big topic. Big one.
It's a big one.
Yeah. So
May-
6. When you get into art as a career, I'm kind of adjusting this. You must be thick-skinned
Mhm.
because criticism and failure can crush you.
Mhm.
And you cannot avoid criticism or failure because these, and you shouldn't, because criticism and failure are your greatest teachers. So, but you do need to be pretty tough because people can say really mean things, and sometimes they're true
Mhm.
about your work. I've been the person who received criticism and been embarrassed by it,
Mhm.
but I've also been the person that had to give criticism, and the other person's embarrassed by it, right? So I have encountered as a person who has given critiques to people, I've encountered 4 different types of people that when given criticism, and only one of them is right. So the first one is the person who is just so brought down by the criticism that I've given that they start to cry.
Mm.
I've had people cry in front of me because they just couldn't believe how bad their work actually was, and they couldn't see it.
Mhm.
But that's just the way it is. The better you get at art, the more you're able to spot your mistakes.
Mm.
Drawings that you used to be proud of 5 years later are going to look like trash to you. It does to me. But when you're receiving criticism, don't cry in front of the person. It's kind of awkward.
Hintayin mo muna umalis yan. Oh, go on. I'm going to cry for a moment.
The second type of person I came across is the one who gets angry.
Mm.
He gets angry at me because, like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. My work. This is how I draw. They start fighting me over it. Like, if you're going to like claim that what I have to say about your work is wrong, why did you ask me in the first place?
That's right. Yeah.
You don't. The thing is that you cannot ask someone how you can make your work better
Mhm.
and expect a pat on the back.
Mhm.
You cannot expect them to just say, "This is good. This is good,"
Mhm.
because usually people will say, like, you could do this better. You could do X, Y, and Z better, right? Or maybe you should stop doing this certain thing, or maybe you have a bad habit that you keep doing. And sometimes criticism is invalid, right? A person could give you bad criticism that doesn't quite fit
Mhm.
what your artistic needs are. But you should always keep an open mind,
Mhm.
right? So now, the third person that I encountered is the person who listens to what I have to say, but then does nothing about it.
Mm.
And so these same types of people, they don't just get criticism from me. They also get it from other people, but then they never do anything about it. So their skill just never really grows.
There's no changes.
There's no
pasok
change.
na yun, tapos dito.
Yeah,
May ganun eh.
yeah.
Mm.
And the fourth person is the one who accepts the criticism, maybe decides whether or not this criticism is good for them, right? And then they do something about it.
Mhm.
They start learning that one thing that they were doing wrong, right? They start studying, they start practicing. And so these are the ones that I encountered the least. And one in particular, I know that I told him, here's what you need to work on. Study this, it'll be good, right? And all of a sudden, a few years later, he's better than all of us. just because he took good criticism and took notes.
Mhm.
So, how about failure? This is a really big topic, so I'm taking my time on it.
Go on.
Failure. You need to be thick-skinned because sometimes failure happens.
Yeah.
A project doesn't always work out the way you wanted it to. This was an early lesson that I learned here at Full Stack, where I worked about maybe 2 months on a
Whoa.
project.
2 months.
It was one of my earliest projects here, and I did a whole lot of drawings, and the whole thing got scrapped
Mm.
because
Oh,
everything
no.
got changed. right? There goes 2 months of work,
Thanos.
gone. Just yeah,
Thanos.
snap, gone, disappeared. into the backup hard drive it goes, and the artwork just never went anywhere. And it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that that the project had to change or failed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it just happens sometimes, and you can't let it stop you. You know, you can't let it bring you down. Just learn from it and move on. Yeah. I think this also applies to portfolio reviews. If you're sending in your portfolio and then you get rejected, imagine if I gave up after the first 3 rejections. Like, screw this, I'm not going to be an artist anymore. Who would be here now? Who's going to be here now?
Who's gonna make
I'm pretty sure
Bootstrap, diba?
Yes.
Without Chris, there's no Bootstrap.
maybe there would be a Bootstrap, but he's
Bootstrap
going to be a
Master.
totally different character,
Yeah.
different artist.
Ayan, kaya sabi ni Mark Angelo Quezon, in every success, there's always a failure, but don't let failure to stop.
You know, very inspirational.
Tama.
You're right done, Sir Mark Angelo Quezon.
Pero kasi minsan, di ba, Kuis, meron tayong mga hindi inaasahang bad days or mga may nangyayari sa ating problem or emergencies. So, ikaw, paano mo siya nagagawa ng paraan or ano yung ginagawa mo para i-handle yung ganung mga sitwasyon?
Oh, this is the part where it turns into real talk.
Real
Right?
talk.
Real talk.
Real talk.
I've said a lot of important things, but this one is where things start to get a little bit more emotional, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So here, you will have many bad days, and sometimes all you can do is show up. Just
Yep.
show up and do the work. I will give an example recently. So while I was working for, you know what? Okay, before I give the example, now artists tend to be, the performance and work tend to vary on because of how good their day is or how good they're feeling. If you're in a good mood, your work tends to be better. If you're in a bad mood, well, unlike musicians, it seems that the more depressed or sad their emotions seem to be, the more powerful their music tends to
Yeah.
become. That's not exactly true for artists, though. For artists, if you're just battery
Keep going.
dead.
Go on. Go on.
If you're not having a good day and you're just dealing with negative emotions, this will affect your work, and you won't be doing your best. So I'll now give an example. Couple months ago, right? So I'm living with my family, right, and I'm working from home. I think most of us are,
Mhm.
right? And so my family is able to talk to me while I'm working. And at some point, while I was in the middle of my work hours, my mom came in, right? She says, "I've got bad news for you. I got bad news.
Oh.
Something
Bad news.
terrible happened." I'm not going to say what happened because that's very personal, and my family would not like it if I said what exactly happened. But something terrible happened, and it was nothing that we had control over. You know, our whole family was just worried and sad and just wishing that something good would happen, right? But this happened told me this while I was working. And so immediately after that, the only thing I could do is just keep working because it's a situation that I have no control over. So I can't do anything. I just have to continue doing my job. But all of a sudden, it's like I can't draw anymore. I just can't draw. All my lines that I'm putting down on the illustrations that I'm making, bootstrap illustrations actually, are just trash. Nothing is turning out right. It's as if I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. But I still try to push through.
Mm-hmm.
I submitted something to my superiors here at Full Stack and got rejected. Battery just keeps going out.
Yo.
But
Run.
and then the next day, I would just have to redo the illustration, do it again. And so, yeah, you will have many bad days. Sometimes there's situations that, maybe you had a death in the family, or maybe it's something as simple as you just didn't get enough sleep. Or you had no sleep. That's happened to me before. I've had to. There were times where I had to go to work, and I had 2 days of no sleep, and that was just, that was terrible. But I had to just show up and do the work as best as I can. So that's point number 7. You'll have many bad days, and sometimes all you do is just show up.
Also, syempre, di natin pwedeng kakalimutan ang i-take care ng ating mental health, di ba, Chris?
Yeah. Your mental and physical health.
Yeah. Timely yan kasi ngayon talagang dami ngayong pandemic, di ba?
Take care of your. Oh boy, our camera's out again. Take care of your mental and physical health. I think we're gonna end up using the backup, aren't we?
Ubus yung
yung
battery natin. Okay lang yan, okay lang.
Yeah.
Yung camera niya, sir, pagod na.
Let's go on. Let's go.
Yung camera, pagod na. Wait lang.
Not exactly the best example of this. I have a difficult time with this as well. But basically, being a professional artist is basically the same as every other desk job. You're sitting at your desk 8 to 16 hours a day, every day, doing your job. And, sitting down for that long is not good for you. You have to exercise. You need to eat and get the proper nutrition. And also, mental health. For whatever reason, artists seem to be more prone to things like depression. The majority of other artists I know deal with some sort of depression, myself included. I deal with it, and that's a very, personal thing, but a lot of artists have to deal with that, and we all deal with it in different ways. Maybe if you need to talk to a therapist, maybe do that. If there is any way that you could help yourself with this, whatever way that is, do it. If a doctor prescribes a medication to you for these maybe a mental disorder or mental illness, right? Do it. You have to take care of your mental and physical health. Art can be very draining, and just you'll get burned out a lot. You'll feel depression. It happens. It happens to all of us, and you just got to do what you have to do. Right? It's just how it is.
So, kung gagawa ng ibang pwede silang magkaroon ng personal project, di ba? Tama ba?
Yeah. Okay, so this goes into a different, whole other thing, which is should I keep going?
Yeah.
Go. Siya.
I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, so number 9, point number 9, you should have a personal project because every artist needs creative freedom.
Mhm.
Now, I think a lot of people who are aspiring artists, right? They're wanting to get into this type of work. They overlook this bit quite a lot. Because they say, "I want to work for Disney," or "I want to work for Marvel Comics," or "I want to work for Shonen Jump," right?
Shonen Jump. Mhm.
Right. But here's the thing: when you're working for those types of those companies, they tend to have ideas of what you should be making, what you should do for them. I'll give an example. In this case, Bootstrap. Right, Bootstrap is a mascot that I created, not because I wanted to.
Yep.
Don't take this the wrong way,
Mhm.
but because my employer told me to. This was his idea. I'm just the guy who designed it, made it work. I'm the artist,
Mhm.
but he's not mine.
Mhm.
He's not my creation. And if it were going to be totally my creation, the character would be very different. So, what do? You should have a personal project
Mhm.
and do it because you want to,
Mhm.
and you and it should be something that you have control over. You get to be as creative as you can. So, okay, what's a personal project? Right? What can be a personal project? Well, it could be as complicated as animating your own short film, right?
Mhm.
To as simple as just making a portfolio, a nice portfolio to submit to potential employers. Maybe you're working a non-art job, right? Like I don't know, you're a mechanic,
Mhm.
right? Let's say you're a mechanic, but you want to do art now. Well, you have to do all your hours doing that job, and then when you go home, you start working on your side project, which in this example is a portfolio. Okay? You make a nice portfolio for the type of work that you wanted to do, or maybe you are. I'm going to keep coming back to manga because
The best example.
best example, right? Because everyone here
Right.
probably I think everyone likes anime, right?
Yep.
Or manga, right? So if you want to make your own, if you want to be a manga artist, well, you got to make your own manga, and you got to do it as a project, as a personal project to yourself. And maybe someday this personal project, whether it's designing a board game, creating a portfolio, making an audio book, writing a book, whatever it is, it will take your career in a different direction, something else.
Parang siya, new environment kapag try ka ng iba, di ba?
Yeah,
Parang pwede rin siyang avoid sa art block, di ba?
Mhm.
yeah,
Di
yeah.
ba? Usually, ganun yung way ng mga artist na ano eh.
You need to have personal project. Someone's going to ask, do you have a personal project, Chris? Yes, I have a
So
personal
much.
project.
So much personal
Yeah.
projects. If you see,
I have so many ideas.
you've seen Chris' sketchbook, there's a lot.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do the drawing demo later, but that is something for a personal project as well.
Let's go. You know. So, Chris, would you agree that not pursuing a passion project during a pandemic is valid?
It's
You know.
valid. I think it's valid.
Mm.
Right?
Why?
Well, this is a tough time, and everyone is dealing with the situation differently. Uh-oh. It's lagging.
Galag? Baka sa internet yan.
And then,
So everyone is dealing with the situation differently. Shout out. And some people are struggling more than others, and so yeah, it's valid to not pursue your own passions, right? But a valid excuse is still an excuse.
Yun yung stand.
So, on one hand, you might think that, I need to just stop for a moment and just try to deal with the situation. But at the same, that's once you make that decision, you can't start complaining if someone else made the opposite choice and they're ahead of you and they're pursuing and getting successful in their projects, and their personal goal, because they decided, I'm going to pursue this, I'm going to do it, and they go out and they do it, and now they have something done and they're showing it to the world, right? So, is it valid? Yes, but don't make it. Don't start complaining when if other people are ahead of you, because you made the choice to stop, to slow down for a little bit. That's okay. You don't need to keep up with everyone else. Just deal with the situation however you can, however you need to.
Keep your own pace, kumbaga.
Keep your own pace. Yeah.
You know?
pero sa quiz, may mga, kasi sa dev, di ba sa dev, may mga community kayo, di ba? Anong
Of
tawag
course.
sa community niya? Community dev lang.
Iba-iba eh.
Oo,
Actually,
iba-iba. Oo.
Marami.
Oo, may
Pero
mga
general term kasi yung kapag sinabi mong community, nandiyan na lahat ng mga front-end developers, back-end, specific na mga React.js.
Yung mga
marami yun.
tutulong
Mga,
di ba?
oo.
Sa mga
Marami
beginners
nun, maraming
or,
ganun sa mga.
diba? Pero sa mga artists din ba, may mga tao, may mga communities din ba?
Yeah, there are art communities, which leads to the 10th and final point, is very conveniently organized discussion.
Of course.
Befriend other artists, because art is a journey you shouldn't travel on your own. Now,
That's right.
I distinctly remember when I was in high school, right? And I was, I was 14, 15 years old. I was drawing all the time. I decided that I wanted to pursue this professionally, right? I was going to graduate. I was going to go to a school for arts, and I was going to do this as a job, right? Just pursue my goal. But the thing is that at the time I didn't know any other artists. So to be honest, it was kind of lonely. It was a lonely experience because I had no one to talk to about this. And so, but when I went into college, this is when I finally met other artists, other people who had goals that were similar to mine, and who were at a level similar to me, and of course, naturally, we became friends. You draw, I draw too. Let's hang out, right?
Instant
And so,
friend.
and we were a little group of artists. We would always draw on our lunch breaks. Like we'd be that one group sitting around at McDonald's. Everyone's just drawing something while eating, random strangers would come over, just look over our shoulders. Say, what are you guys doing?
What are you doing?
What are you drawing? You're all drawing? That's cool. Right?
True story.
That actually did happen. That happened multiple times. And here's the thing. Not only does this make it the experience of being an artist less lonely, because most of the time it will be, and most artists work inside a home studio on their own. It also is a professional benefit because these friends that you hang out with can also become your peers in the industry, whatever industry you're going to work in. So let's say I received a freelance job, right? But it's a job that doesn't quite fit what I do, right? Maybe I am drawing, let's say I'm drawing black and white comic books, right? Let's say for example that's what I'm doing. But this person came up to me and they want me to do a digital painting of a specific anime character. Let's say it's, I don't know, name an anime character. Let's say it's One Punch Man, right?
Saitama.
Yeah, Saitama. And well, I'm not very good at drawing anime, and I don't know how to paint digitally. I'm not very good at that. But I have a friend who is, and so I could pass that job to him. Right? Let me see your art. Let me see the chat. So I can pass that job to him, and maybe on the other side, on the flip side, maybe my friend receives a job that he doesn't want to do or can't do, and so he passes it to me, and now I have work, right? So you can pass work to your friends / allies in the industry. Another thing is that artist problems tend to be pretty unique, and it's the kind of thing that only other artists would understand. And so you might have a problem as an artist, and you can't just talk to your brother about it because maybe your brother is not an artist, or you can't talk to your girlfriend about it because she's not an artist, or your parents. They might give you some advice, but it's not quite going to fit in what you're doing because, well, you're an artist and they're not.
They're not, yeah.
So you need to be able to talk to other artists as well because they're going to understand you better than I'm about to say normal people. Normal
on.
people.
Normal para sa inyo.
Non-artists.
Non-artist.
So yeah, there's that. And now another thing is that there are online groups for art that you can join. There are different communities, and they're all over the place. And you need to. It would be best if you go find one that you kind of fit in with. I have an art group that I'm part of, and I fit in with them. And we talk every now and then. We get on a Discord chat, and these other artists, they're from different parts of the world. I've got an art friend from Spain. I got a handful from the United States. Some are from Canada. Some are from Australia. Benefits of having the internet, right?
Yeah.
And all these people could be on one Discord chat, and it's just like having a bunch of artists in one room to talk to, and everyone has something to say. So, befriend other artists because art is a journey that you shouldn't travel alone. All right.
Tama yun.
And that is number 10.
Pero pues pagkasama yung mga friends mo,
Yeah.
aside from drawing, may iba pa kayong ginagawang hobby? Ganun.
Para maiba, no?
Oo, parang puro drawing lang ba yung mga topic or pinag-uusapan nyo?
Well,
May
we,
iba kayo?
of course, we go out and watch movies and, you know, normal people's things, right?
Yes, of course.
We'll go out and drink every now and then,
Mm.
right? We'll go out and drink while drawing every now and then.
Drawing, no?
Drink and draw. That's an actual term, drink and draw.
Drink and draw.
Yeah.
Ano yun? Parang challenge sa inyo yun.
Oo.
No, it just makes you less
Parang
serious.
masaya rin yun, no? Drink and code.
Drink and code. Isn't that like?
Meron ba siyang effect sa creativity? Pag parang nabubus ba yung creativity mo?
You just care less about your work, but then you start to hate it in the morning.
Kumbaga, do what you want right now, no? Tapos kinabukasan, oh, what is this? I did this?
What is this crap?
What is this?
Get out of here. This
Yeah, my
this
God.
drawing does not deserve to exist.
Pero may mga energy pa kayo kasi dito sa mga programmers, parang kilala sila or may parang ganado sila pag gabi, ganun, or madaling araw. Sa artist din ba may?
Like energy at night.
Yeah,
maybe?
or productive ka ba in the morning or productive ka
It
ba
really
at night?
depends. I think most seem to be night owls.
Mhm.
I'm not. I'm not. I like sleep.
Yeah, sleep is life.
Oo.
I went through college and barely had any of it, so you know, I like my sleep.
Yeah.
Man, I'll try to sleep like every other normal
Normal.
person.
Normal
Kasi
person.
at least talaga normal pa rin naman talaga sila.
People pa rin. People is
Oo.
people. Ayun, no? Ayun, no?
Ayan, ang dami ng mga nagko-comment ng mga
May nababasa
questions
ako sa ating comment section. Merong quiz, sabi ni Mark Angelo Kizon. I want to see your drawing, sir. Ayun, no?
Yeah,
Yan,
Pwede ba?
mamaya makikita
Meron ba
niyo
tayo
yan.
dyan?
I do have one.
Dito rin papakita natin sa main camera natin.
I have.
You can
something that
also
I'm-
visit Chris Instagram, di ba? Ano yung
Oh.
Instagram account mo?
It's at iSketchSun.
At
To play with my
I
own name.
Sketch Sun. Tama?
Yes, at iSketchSun on Instagram.
IG. Yeah.
That's where I post my work when I
Mhm.
decide to post. I don't
Ayun,
post often enough,
Ayun,
honestly.
no?
But
So,
I do have something that I'm working on right here. Illustration.
nakikita ba siya? Hindi
Can it be
yata.
seen? I don't think you.
May copy din na original sketch si Calvin yan eh. Di ba, Kuya Calvin, meron kang original sketch nung kay Chris.
Oo, pakita natin. Wait lang.
Ayan, pakita natin. Para makita
Search
niyo.
naman natin sa screen yan.
Kasi yung hawak ni Chris, yun yung current na ginagawa
Yeah,
niya. So,
it's
the
the,
original... oo.
Black and
Eto.
white or
Ito yung sketch.
Making it.
Ayan, nasa screen. Original.
Search natin sa screen yan. Ginagawa ni
Ayan.
Chris.
Yan, mapakita niyo yun mamaya kung paano niya yung drawing.
yeah. We have the prizes for inks, for like bottled ink and brush,
Mhm.
and those were hand selected by me.
Mm.
So if we can get our camera working, I'll be demonstrating how to use those. So I have the brush that someone might win.
Sino kaya yon?
That someone might win.
Sino kaya yon?
And also I have the sketchbook that someone
Yeah, no.
might win.
Parang gusto kong makita yung laman yan, ah.
Not these specific ones. You're gonna get brand new ones, not used ones. You know?
Of course.
we don't give away.
Siyempre, dapat bibigyan natin sa ating mga lucky winners yung mga brand new, mga bago yan. Hindi tayo magbibigay ng mga gamit na. Hindi tayo ganon. Bigay tayo ng brand new, of course.
Brand new.
Ayun, no?
Mm.
So,
Ayan, habang sineset up natin yung camera ni Chris at yung drawing portion niya, ipapakita muna natin yung gagamitin nating alternative sa ating wheel picker, yung Kuya Well. Naalala niyo po ba yan sa mga...
sino ba nakakalala sa Kuya Well natin
Kuya Well?
dyan, no? Kuya
Ngayon,
Well.
iba na siya dahil
Iba na.
2021 na.
2021, meron tayong bagong sa pagpili ng ating winners. So, ayun, no? Kanina pa kami nagko-compile ng mga questions, eh. Ayan na.
Oo.
So, meron tayong list.
Ano yan, Ani? Ducks Race?
Mm.
Ay, Duck Race?
Hoy!
Duck race!
Ay,
Duck
sorry.
race yun. Oy, baka masabi ka dyan.
Duck Race. Hindi, marami kasi sila, kaya Ducks Race. Pagka marami, di ba?
Plural
Okay,
na.
tuturo
Plural.
lang, ano.
Tama naman, Ducks Race pag marami.
Baka iba yung marinig ng mga
Mga
viewers
NTRCB
natin.
tayo dito,
Oo
ah.
nga, oo nga. Oh, FBI, open up!
Ayan, papakita sa atin ni Nix yung ating
Yun na.
gagamiting picker. Yan.
Wait lang ha. So, ating speakers, share natin yan. Yan na. Nakikita na ba siya? Ang ating
Yan, so habang pinaprepare pa natin yung ating isang camera and yung drawing portion ni Chris, papakita muna natin yung mechanics or kung paano ba mapipili yung questions or yung mga mananalo for our prizes.
yun no. So, kung nakikita niyo yung mga pangalan niyo dyan, ito na yung mga may chance na manalo.
Yan,
Send na kayo ng
nakikita
Yun,
niyo
send.
nakikita niyo ba? Kita niyo ba ang pangalan niyo? Kung wala kayo dyan, ibig
mag-comment.
sabihin, hindi namin nakita yung question niyo. So, kung ako sa inyo, comment na.
Mhm.
Kung may random question lang yan, i-entertain natin yan. Basta kapag ikaw yung napili, automatic, winner ka.
Mhm.
Yun o.
Yan.
Well, Chris.
Siguro pwede nating i-start na.
Start na natin, isa. Pasadaan na natin ang isa.
Yan, habang hinaan
So,
ni
meron-
Nico, ano nga ba yung mga prizes natin, Quiz Calvin? I-recall natin para ganahan ng ating mga audience
You
and
know.
viewers.
Yun o.
Hello.
Ano yung mga
Yun,
prizes natin?
so yung mga
natin.
prizes natin, ipa-flash ko dito yung mga giveaway. Ayan,
Sige,
nasa
sige.
screen. Meron tayong isang winner ng number 2 metal paintbrush with ink and sketchbook. One winner of metal paintbrush, brush pens and sketchbook. One winner of brush pens and sketchbook. And 2 winners of full stock H2 shirt na hindi nilalaban. Yun.
Yun o.
Yan.
So ano, game na ba? Game na ba?
Yan, subukan na natin isa.
Kuha na tayo ng isa. So meron tayong 15 entries ngayon. So 15 na tao. So let's make sure lang na walang doble, no? Para fair sa lahat. Meron ka ba nakikita ng doble?
Wala akong nakita ng doble. Paningin ko lang yung nagdodoble.
Nako. Ako, 4 yung mata ko, pero wala akong nakikita. Wala akong nakikita.
Ayan. Nasala ko yan, Sob.
Alalang lang natin na guys, i-mention niyo yung mga friends niyo, i-share niyo yung live
yung-
stream post.
Mechanics natin, don't
Uh-huh.
forget. You know? So, let's go.
Let's go! So,
Yun na.
tatakbo to ng 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Ayan na. Maririnig kayo yung sound net. Sana marinig, no?
Ako na lang
Ano,
magsa-sound.
Game na ba, guys? Game na. Set na natin yan.
Hindi yata marinig. Eh.
Uy, wait,
Wala siya.
matanda.
Ano yan?
Ulit. Niloloko tayo. Games, edit list. Uy. Wait lang.
Wait lang, sinayos pa lang ni Quiz.
Uy, ayaw ma-delete. Ayan pala. Galing eh. Oo.
Oh, di ba?
Hindi mo kasi delete doon eh. No?
Mhm.
You know?
So, isi-set natin yung duck race. So,
Hindi natin
parang
pwede.
tatakbo
Pwede
sila
naman.
ng 10 seconds. Tama ba, Quiz?
Mm.
10 seconds. So, 10 seconds dapat magunahan.
Uy, wala
Parang
pangalan.
pwede talaga siya.
Hindi lumalabas yung pangalan guys. Ba't ganon?
Names
Ang kulit naman ng mga ducks na yan.
Mga itik na to.
Mga itik na yan. Ang kulit.
Oh. Yan.
Ayun!
Ano?
Nice.
Ready na kayo? Ano? Sugal na.
Full screen natin,
Ayun,
full screen.
So meron tayong 10 seconds. Sino kaya ang mananalo? So kung sino man yung mabunot dito, yung question niya is itatanong natin sa ating guest na si Chris.
Mhm.
And Chris, are you ready?
Yeah.
These are very random questions. So
I have no idea what
Let's
they're going to
go.
be. I
Let's
have
go.
an idea of what they're
Let's
gonna be.
go.
Fantastic.
You know, boom. You know, sino kaya? May umide akong nakita.
Malaki.
Sige,
Malikit
tuloy
na
na.
bibe. Uy!
No.
Uy! Uy! Uy!
Marvin Pilongo, sumabong. Ayun, no? Sumabong. Nandiyan ka ba? Marvin Pilongo, sumabong. Ayun, no?
First winner.
So, ang kanyang question, wait lang. Napin natin yung question niya, no?
Hi, Marvin, ha? Lagi ka na nanalo, ha?
Oo nga.
Last time, di ba nanalo siya?
Pang ilan mo na yan? Pang ilan mo na yan? Ha?
Oo.
Marvin
Ay,
sumabong?
Feeling ko, pangalawa niya pa lang to.
Pangalawa? Swerte pa rin.
Swerte pa rin. Swerte
You know.
pa rin.
Yung question niya is, nandiyan ba siya? Ayun, nandyan siya.
Hi,
So,
Marvin!
congrats, Sir Marvin Sumabong. Congrats. Ayun, so yung question ni Sir Marvin is, how do you navigate the art world? Parang, ano siya, navigate. Parang, how do you explore? Parang ganon, yung
That
art
sounds
world.
very.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, mukhang napaisip ko rin.
Napaisip ang ating
Diba?
artist.
Medyo mahirap kasi siyang ano eh. Parang paano mo siya explore? Do you try different styles?
Oo.
Ganun ba?
Parang feeling ko ganun din yung ibig sabihin
Did you,
ng paano mo i-explore.
Kung
Did
paano
you
siya
explain
siguro
your-
natuto.
What your question means,
Mm.
just so I could give you a proper answer.
Mhm.
Hi Marvin, nakikinig ka ba? Magparamdam ka, galawin mo yung baso na to.
Ano, pagalamin mo yung ano,
Kamay.
yung alcohol namin, no?
Pamay na lang, pamay.
Ayun, no? So medyo naguluhan yung ating guest sa question. Pwede mo bang elaborate
Elaborate.
yung question, Sir Marvin? The question mo is how to
naririnig pa rin
navigate
yung
the art world. Sabi ng ating guest, medyo hindi niya na-gets. Pwede mo bang i-elaborate?
I've already dropped the question
How
daw.
do you
Baka may iba siyang
navigate the art
question.
world? Parang,
Baka may
Feeling
iba
ko
siyang...
ibig sabihin kung paano mo ini-explore yung art world.
Oo.
Kung may iba ka pa bang ibang styles or techniques na gusto mong i-explore pa.
oo,
Paano mo
parang
siya i-explore?
plans in the future, ganun. Parang since maraming different fields sa art, hindi na naman puro drawing, di ba?
Kasi sabi mo kanina
Sculpture,
may mga painting,
Yung
may
paintings,
mga-
yan. So, do you have plans ba?
Alright.
Or,
All right. So let's assume that that's what that question means, right?
feel
We
ko
might
yun
totally
din.
be wrong, but let's assume.
Let's go, let's go.
If Marvin decides to elaborate in the comments or the chat even after we
Mhm.
already answered the question, I will correct my answer if if we understand your question better. So, anyways, how do I navigate the art world and find influences and such? Well, I primarily go through Instagram and Pinterest just to look for art. But the other thing is that I recognize styles of art, wherein I can, if I know the artist and I've seen their work, chances are that I can recognize their work just by the way they draw.
Hmm.
And other times I could recognize that's a particular artist is influenced by a different artist.
Mm.
So, like, for example, I might look at an artist from today, right, who's popular today, and I could go back and realize that this person's way of drawing has some similarities to these other 10 artists or however many artists from the past, right? Or maybe he was influenced by his friends,
Mhm.
and so I could look at their art too. It's just the ability to recognize that, hey, this art looks kind of like this other art,
Mhm.
and so I'm going to look at that. And sometimes, because enough people ask, like, they'll ask these other artists, who influenced you? And then this popular artist is going to be like, artist A, B, and C influenced me, or there's others, and so I'm like, I'm gonna go check out what those other artists worked on. Maybe they worked in animation, maybe they worked in books, or they did postcard illustrations. That's a whole other thing, and so it sends you down an endless rabbit hole of just finding new artists.
Mm.
So, I hope that answers your question.
Ayun, no?
Marvin?
So, Marvin Sumabong, hopefully, nasagot ni
Hopefully.
Chris
Mm.
yung question mo. So, ayun, congrats ulit kay Marvin Sumabong. Ayun, no? Congrats. So, nanalo siya ng isang package ones, yung ating metal paintbrush, ink, at sketchbook. Ayun, no?
There you go.
You know?
Yes,
Meron siya sample
congratulations.
dito. Actually, meron sample
Yeah.
dito si Chris.
You
Meron
get-
siya. You know?
For my camera, yeah, you'll get this brush. This is
Mm.
a number 2 brush.
Mhm.
Very good for drawing thin to thick lines.
Mm.
I don't use it for watercolors though. You got Sumi ink or Taki Sumi ink. This is a lot of manga artists use this.
You know?
It's also water soluble, so you can use it for gray paintings. And you get what I think is the best value sketchbook on the market right now. This is A5 size with 100 pages,
Mhm.
and it's
Ay, may
hardcover.
You know?
You know,
Mm.
these things sell out so quickly. So anytime I go to a national bookstore and I see them, I
Mhm.
buy as many as I can because the
Yeah.
next day they're going to be gone, just gone.
Thanos.
Yan. Congrats, Marvin. Sana ma-enjoy mo yung
Ayun
ating
na,
prize
ayun na.
para sa inyo.
Ayun no, so Marvin, brand new yung bibigay namin sa'yo. Hindi itong gamit ha. Brand
Yeah.
new.
You're not getting mine.
Brand new yung bibigay, hindi gamit. Hindi tayo mamimigay ng ginamit.
Paalala na, brand new.
Alala, puro brand new yung pamimigay natin ngayon.
We got the camera working now,
You know,
and so at this point, we'll be doing the drawing demo while
Let's go.
answering your questions.
ayun no.
Yes.
We can multitask. We're
You know,
professionals.
So,
Professionals multitask.
pili pa tayo ng, ng
Yeah.
winner natin?
Pero bago na tayo pumili, pakita muna natin yung sketch
Okay.
ni...
Yan. Sige.
So this is a drawing that I am working on. Making sure I'm focused. This, as you can immediately tell, very different from what you see me draw for full stack.
Mhm.
And I thought it would be interesting to see just how different the artist is from the art, or from the art that I do here, right?
Mhm.
This goes back to you need a personal project, and this is how I draw for myself. This is a very different piece, and I don't draw this way at all for my job here. So let's talk. You know, let's talk process, right? How did I do this? What tools did I use? So first off, I started on a sketch. I started drawing this on a sketch. I don't have the sketch with me right now, but we flashed it earlier,
Yeah, yun na.
and that was done on regular printer paper, regular bond paper. You know, your regular A4 size bond paper. And the reason is because when you're drawing on cheap paper, you don't feel bad when you have to throw it away. If the drawing sucks, it just is bad. You could just chuck it in the trash and start over.
Mhm.
Also, another thing is that this serves as sort of like you know how in video games you have a checkpoint,
Mhm.
in-game
Save
checkpoint
point.
or a save point,
Save points.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you need to start over again. Well, that's basically it. What that is. So I start with a sketch on a different regular type printer paper. Then I I use a light pad to trace the same drawing onto vellum board. This right here is the E-Lit brand vellum board,
Mhm.
200 grams, or whatever the unit of measurement is. And so I said light pad. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big pad that has LEDs built in, and what it allows you to trace over your drawings. Now, back in classic animation days, they had something called a light box, and this was used so that animators could draw their frames on top of each other.
Mhm.
So they draw one frame, and then they would have a light box, and they would just shine light through their paper, and then they could draw the next frame. A lot of artists use it to just refine their drawings on a nicer paper. You know, so use cheap paper to solve starting problems, and then use the nicer paper to go in with your better tools. So, Someone, okay, I'm going to answer questions before they're asked. What
Okay.
pencil did I use? I used this regular mechanical pencil. It's nothing special. It's 0.5. I use
0.5.
HB lead. Yeah, nothing there. However, this is a little bit heavier than than most other pencils, and for whatever reason, this particular one does not jam. This is a Stettler brand, and I don't know why, but it just never jammed on me before. I've been. My dad just gave me this when I was 15, and I'm still using it today.
Whoa.
So you can tell that the
Aw.
paint is just gone. There used to be paint there, but it's gone. The line work. Brush, the Kuretake ink, which are listed in the prizes. The brush, which I use to fill in the black spots, and will be demonstrating on drawing this character. Right. I also use Micron's pens and also the Uni pen.
Mhm. So
These
many
are
pens.
easy to find. You can find them at basically any national bookstore or, bookstore really.
Mm.
They're reasonably priced. Also, the Microns in particular, a lot of professionals use this, and you could really get a lot of amazing work done. There's a lot of artists that I know that use these regular pens, and they just create absolute masterpieces.
Mhm.
But I prefer brush over technical pen.
Mm.
Now, here's something that's a little bit interesting. You see some lettering right here, right?
Mhm.
I used. Now, this is a tool that I bought. If I could find it. Oh no, where'd it go?
Saan?
Did I lose? Oh, there
Yan,
it
yan,
is.
yan, yan.
This is a tool that I bought online because I knew about it, and I couldn't seem to find it here in the Philippines, so I got it overseas. And this is a Ames lettering guide. Basically, what this tool is it allows you to draw your guidelines for where to write your letters, right? So blank
Yeah.
papers like this, they don't have any ruled letters, so you get a T-square on a drawing board, or a drafting table.
Yan, nakikita nyo ba guys yung sinasabi ni Chris?
Oh, it's transparent, so you know what? Here, maybe you can see it better now.
Yan.
Transparent piece of plastic,
Mm.
right? Now it's got all these it's got a whole lot of little holes in them, little measurements right over here to measure out your spacing, and basically you just kind of turn this dial around. You line it up to your T-square. Let's pretend that this is a big T-square, right? And you'll put your pencil in these pre-measured holes, and then you just kind of draw your lines, your guidelines
Mhm.
from left to right. Right? You just go with your pencil. Then you'll have your guidelines for letters. I have an example over here. This is something I lettered.
You know?
This is all hand lettered. I finished this morning,
Wow.
and
Handwritten yan. No?
yeah. So
Napakalupit.
I do that. I can do this digitally, but I feel like it's better just to, if you can write on your art, it makes it feel more complete, right? So I think that covers everything that on tools. There's nothing else that I can provide here, right? So I think that's all the tools I used. Well, if you want to include erasers,
Simple eraser
just
lang.
I forget what brand. The brand is gone on this. It's a Faber-Castell. All right. So let's get started with the drawing. Now I have.
Go, go, go.
I'm going to start
Yeah.
brushing.
Demo to, demo.
All right, I have the ink on the side, off camera. I have a cup of water, off camera, to the side, and I have a little napkin on the side as well, and that's where I just wipe the water off of my brush. So now I'm removing the lid, right, and then I'm gonna put the brush in the water, wipe off the excess water, dip the ink of the brush into the ink, just the tip, and then we start making our lines.
Yan.
Start making
You know, live demo.
I like using
Whoa.
the brush because you can get really thick lines and also really thin.
Wow.
I prefer brush over pen. Just fits my style. Right?
Parang
Okay.
preference lang.
Yeah, personal preference. So, let's start inking.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And,
Live inking.
yeah. And while we do this, let's select another question.
Ayun na,
While
so
I go.
habang nag-drawing si Chris, nakikita niya yan sa ating camera number 2, pipili tayo ng second winner. So, present ko lang ulit ang ating tab. Ay, nasa na yan? Duck race. You know.
Yan. So marami ka dinagdag dyan, quiz, kasi ang daming nakita ko kanina. Ang
dami.
daming nag-ask ng questions eh.
Yeah,
Asan na ba?
everyone.
Marami.
Also,
Wait lang.
there are
Edit
5
muna natin yung
prizes,
list.
but that doesn't mean that I'm only going to answer 5 questions. It just means that there are 5 questions that are going to get prizes,
Mhm.
right? But while I'm here, I'll try to answer as many questions as I can.
Yun, no? Napakagalante talaga. Kaya kailangan,
Matindi ang
kung
ating,
may mga
ano,
questions kayo, kailangan yung comment sa aming comment section para makita namin sa aming screen at babasa namin at masagot ni Chris yung inyong mga questions.
That's right. Ayun na. So, pili na tayo ng question habang nagdo-drawing si Chris. Pili na tayo. Wait lang. Nakamute yung ating site. Ayun. And let's go. Ayun. Sino? Pumapalo. O, yun o. May tatlong bibi. Ako nakita. Sinong nalo? Yun o. Hoy! Delio Jr. Alina Tablang. Nandiyan ka ba? Delio Jr. Alina Tablang. Habang pangalan nyo, ang mga winners natin ngayon, mahaba yung pangalan. Yung ba yung technique para manalo? Ayun o, nandiyan ka ba? Delio Jr. Alina Tablang. O baka magkaibang tao to. Comment nga kayo dyan.
Comment nga kayo, guys.
Comment naman. Paggalawin nyo yung baso dito, kaya itong alcohol namin. No? Ayun na! Boom! Yun no, nanalo siya, Sir Delio. Wait, check lang natin yung, yung question.
Yes.
You know, so si Delio.
So let's see what-
Delio, nasaan siya?
What was the question? Trying to make sure I'm camera here.
Oh, ang dami niyang question.
Pili ka na maganda, quiz.
Ito. Gusto ko yung question. Ito na. Sabi ni Delio Jr. Alina Tablang, have you ever compared your work to others and found insecurity because they are better than yours?
Yeah, I did. Especially amongst my friends.
Sa friends mo talaga.
Yeah, my friends. Because when you're friends with other artists, you develop, a friendly competition, and that's just how it is. But for the most part, most of the time, I change my perspective, and so when I look at other artists and they're better than me, which they usually are,
Mhm.
I don't feel bad that my work isn't at their level. These are people that have been doing it longer than I have.
Mhm.
They've studied more than I have. They've done more work than I have, right?
Mm.
So I'm not jealous
Mhm.
or upset that they're better than me. the fact I'm inspired by them, it makes me feel like, you know what, I want to be as good as this artist one day, right?
Or better, di ba?
Or better. Not likely. My heroes are very. My artistic heroes are very up there. You know, it's
Long
hard
way
to-
pa, no? Long way.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. But someday, you know, I want to be as good as these guys, as my artistic heroes.
You know. Pili pa tayo ng isa.
Oo, pili pa tayo.
Ayun, no? So bago tayo pumili ng isa, si Delio Jr. Alina Tablang is nanalo ng metal paintbrush, mga brush pens at sketchbook. Ayun, no? So paalala nga pala, no, sa mga nanalo, mga napili sa ating duck race, message niyo yung page namin para ma-claim nyo yung inyong prizes.
Yes. Huwag niyo kakalimutan kaming i-message ha, kundi
Oo.
wala.
Kapag
Wala
di nyo
kayong
may message
prizes.
yung page namin, wala kayong prizes. Siyempre, hindi nyo kinling eh. Akin na lang.
Ah, sige.
Akin na lang. De, joke lang. Message nyo.
Give it to these.
Message nyo.
I can get-
Bigyan natin kay
Nakukunin
Chris.
daw ni Chris. No.
Parang nasa best hands na siya nun kapag wala nag-claim ng prizes.
And then I'll donate it to a random stranger.
What?
What? Oh.
Ayun na, so pili tayo ng isa pa. Race again. Ready na ba?
Mhm.
Isa pa. Start race. You know, sino kaya? Ang mananalo. You know. Oh.
Ang galing ko
Tatlong
may mga
bibe.
nakikita
Uy,
akong
siya na
bago
naman.
mga-
Ba't nandiyan pa siya?
Naku,
Ba,
naku.
masyado kang swerte. Ba't dalawa
At
yata
dahil
yung pangalan
ulit na
mo?
naman,
Ulit.
pipili tayo
tanggalin
ng
natin.
isa pa.
Race
Para
again,
maging
race again.
fair sa mga nasa
Ayun, ulit.
question.
Ayun na. Dinadaya tayo ng
Oo
parang
nga
ano tayo ng spirito ni
Hacker
Sir
ba to?
Del. Hacker yan. Kasi yung previous stream natin about hacking, baka nag-hack ka na ha? Ba't nandun ka ulit? Tinanggal kita eh. Aba?
Yun lang.
Ayun na. So, game. Ayun na. Start.
Aha.
Ba't nawawala yung sound
Send na
natin?
kayo send na ng questions mga quiz ha. Kasi pipili talaga kami. Nalagay namin sa mga list.
Yun na. Yun. Cell Mandigma. Uy, napakaganda pa ng kanyang duck. Oh. Parang doktor yan, mga frontliner yan. Yun na.
Yeah.
Double
Hi
down.
sa mga frontliners
Mga
natin
frontliners
dyan.
dyan. Hello, saludo po kami sa inyo. Yun na. So, Cell Mandigma. Nandyan yata siya. I think nakita ko siya nag-comment kanina. Nandyan ka ba, Cell Mandigma? Paramdaman mo ka naman yan, oh. Pagalawin mo yung tissue dito, okay? Yung baso, oh. Ano? Ba't nakamute? Nakamute ba kami? Naririnig niyo ba kami? Hindi naman.
Yung duck race nakamute sa ano.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, maingay kasi kanina eh. Nagkwak-kwak-kwak sila eh.
Yan.
Ganyan talaga yung mga ducks, mga ingay.
Yung
Ano yung
mga
mga-
duck natin, no,
mga
maingay
ducks?
talaga yung mga duck natin kasi very lively sila, energetic. Energetic.
Energy. Energetic.
Nag-Milo sila, nag-Milo. Ayun, no, so andyan si Sel, Ma'am Mandigma. Congrats.
Hi.
Ayun, no, so yung question ni Sel Mandigma. Hanapin ko lang yung question niya kasi nandito sa list natin. Wait lang. Ayun, no. So, Chris, are you ready? Ayun, yung question ni Sel Mandigma is, as an artist, which current art world trends are you following? You know, and what inspires you to do such? Parang sabi niya, ano daw yung trend sa art na yung sinusundan mo ngayon, yung parang follow na, ano, parang gusto mong itry, parang ganun. Parang ano bang nag-inspire? Anong meron doon sa art na yun na parang fina-follow mo siya?
I actually don't follow trends.
Wow.
I go back to older artists that are no longer trendy. I don't follow trends. I think that in the world of art, if you try to follow trends, you lose the individuality
Aha.
of your work. You know, you become less unique. Hold on, I'm trying to. Okay, sorry.
Ayun, no?
You lose the individuality of your work, and but of course, I am influenced by other people. So, in my case, lately I've been looking at a lot of artists that keep their art simpler.
Uh-huh.
So I've been looking at a lot more artists like Alex Toth.
Mhm.
He is an artist, a legendary artist.
Mhm.
His work is best known in animation. He's known for his work in the Amazing Super Friends. You know, that kind of like that 1960s Justice League cartoon, sort of. He is also known for Space Ghost, if anyone knows that cartoon. But I know his work in comics, and he was a master storyteller. But he kept his work very simple.
Mhm.
The whole you don't need 1,000 lines to represent an image,
Mm.
and he was just an absolute master at that. And so what I'm trying to do now is as much as possible. Oops, sorry, I'm doing a very complicated line right here. Try to be influenced by that, by the simplicity of the artwork. I think to me there is an elegance to simplicity.
Mm. Simple is elegant.
Simple.
Mhm. Pero yung ano mo, Chris, yung ginagawa mo ngayon, anong style ang ina-apply mo ngayon or ni-implement mo ngayon?
Well, I'm trying to keep things as simple as I can.
Mhm.
So I have a very comic book style talking about here. So I don't do cross hatching.
Mhm.
A lot of artists will do cross hatching, but I like to just use strong shadows. So over here on this jacket, but over here there would be just
Mhm.
a big black shadow right here. Just and over here on the side, just a lot of black. I like to use very strong shadows in my work.
Mhm.
Just using black ink.
Mhm.
It's just black and white, and then maybe throw in some grays later.
Mhm.
Um, I just like the look. I think one cartoon that really did well was Batman the Animated Series. They used very strong shadows in that cartoon,
Mhm.
and Bruce Timm,
Naglobat yung camera.
the producer of that show, and also the
Pag-disconnect mo yung camera.
the lead designer of that show, just a master at just simplifying art, and everything really, and just making good dramatic lighting, just the simple black and white.
Mhm.
You know, keep it simple. That's just what I'm into. What I like.
Pero yung kay Bootstrap, anong style or technique ang gamit mo doon?
Bootstrap was very different.
Mhm.
Our boss wanted something very cute, kind of chibi like. I wanted a little bit of more something, I guess, more unique from chibi. So I mixed in a little bit of that Tom and Jerry style from the old cartoons, and then combined it with
Just long questions.
the typical chibi style.
Chibi?
Yeah, chibi.
Chibi siya.
Chibi.
Si Bootstrap.
Yeah,
Ang galing nga.
When you say chibi, ano yun? Yung cute?
Yung cute.
it's an Eastern.
Para sa
Style.
mga non-artists yan, yun. Ano yung chibi?
You know? So, yung nanalo natin is si Selman Digba. Congrats! Ayun. Oh, wait lang.
Yan, Selman Digma, nanalo
Selman
ka
Digma
na.
is nanalo na nga. Listahan natin, brush, pens, and sketchbook. Ayun, no? So, yung main camera natin is nalobat. Napapalitan lang natin yung battery. Wait lang. Ulitin ko lang, Selman Digma, nanalo ka na brush pens and sketchbook.
Mhm.
Inuulit ko, brand new yung mga ibibigay namin sa inyo. At pinapaalala ko, i-message nyo yung page namin para maklaim nyo ang inyong prizes. Ayun na. Congrats! So, pili pa tayo ng isang question?
Yep.
Wait lang. So, meron tayong mga nadagdag na question dito eh. Copyain lang natin.
Sige, habang inaasikaso ni Quiz
Edit,
next ang
edit.
ang listahan, i-show muna natin ang dinodraw ngayon ni Quiz Chris.
Nakikita pa ba ang ating duck race? Ayun no, so bunot tayo ng isa pa. Meron pa tayong dalawang winners, no?
Oo.
Dalawang winners, no? Ayun no, so ayun, so pili na tayo ng isa pa. So, let's go.
Yeah.
Sino kayang mananalo sa ating duck race, no? And start. Ay, hindi nakikita. Yung duck race natin.
Okay.
Wait lang, ulitin natin. Wait lang.
Yan. Can you show us na lang, Chris, kung ano yung dinodrawing mo ngayon? Ano yung inspiration mo for that sketch?
So this particular drawing, this is one of my own characters
Mm-hmm.
from a personal project that I'm working on. I cannot say what it is because until it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is for a personal project,
Uh-huh.
and this particular drawing is actually a practice piece. So it doesn't actually have any particular use except for being practice and as this demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to try something different, so I scrolled through Pinterest and I found this image of someone standing in a stairway.
Mm-hmm.
The camera is pointing down towards this person. I thought, I've never drawn something like that before, so I'm going to try it. Give myself a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Para challenge, no? Challenge. Challenge yourself.
Pag nagdo-drawing ka na ganyan, how long would it
How long
take?
does it take?
Oo.
Depends on the drawing. This point, sometimes it will be kind of quick,
Mm-hmm.
take it in like 20 minutes. But other times when it's as complicated as this, it could take 8 hours if I'm sitting down just staying. You know,
Straight yun, 8 hours.
8 hours straight. I don't draw that long. For, I like to stand up and move around. But yeah, it could take about anywhere from 8 to 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's my process is just really about trying to prevent as many mistakes as possible because I'm working in ink and it's a difficult medium to. It's a very permanent medium.
Ayun, no?
Sometimes I make mistakes and I have to figure out how to correct them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So habang nagdo-drawing ulit si Chris, eto, ni-ready na natin yung ating duck race. Meron pa tayong dalawang winners.
Yan.
Yes,
Bale,
dala.
ang papanalunan nila ay Full Stack HQ swag shirts. Ito
Ayan
yan.
na. So,
Wala daw
Game na
yung
ba?
name ni Mark Quezon. Angelo
parang
Mark Quezon.
hindi natin nalista yung question ni Sir Mark Angelo Quezon. Wait lang, sige, hanapin natin.
Pa-send na lang po ulit para
Sige,
makita
pagbibigyan natin si Sir.
Mhm.
Saan yung question? Hindi ko makita yung question mo, Sir. Can we see your art? Yun ba?
Anong question
Well,
natin,
you see
Sir
my
Mark? Yun lang ba yun? Nasend niya?
Ito. Sige. Wait lang. Kakabit lang natin yung list.
dadagdagan
Yung
lang
question niya.
natin yung
Dadagdagan lang
questions,
natin
ah.
yung questions. Sayang kasi baka manalo naman si Sir.
Mhm.
Fair tayo dito, fair tayo. Kakabit lang natin siya dito. Yan.
Sa mga hindi pa nagsasubmit or nagsasend ng kanilang questions, mag-send na kayo sa comment section.
Yan. Oh, kita mo na, Sir. Sir Mark Angelo. Walang tatampo dito. Fair tayo. Yan. Oh, yan. Oh, game?
Yun na.
Yan, 15 yan. Ready na? Parang nakamute yung ano natin. Sige, start. You know?
Nakamute na siya. Manual na. Manual na yung
Sino
sound
kaya
natin.
mananalo? Uy, buntik na! Mahabol na si Riz L. Sayang. Buntik na. Ang ating winner ngayon is si Ray Taitayon. Ayun, nandiyan ka ba? I think
Magparamdam ka.
galing yata siyang YouTube. Si Ray Taitayon. Nandiyan ka ba? Paggalawin mo naman yung nandito, yung alcohol, tissue, baso.
Baso. Ay, tasa.
O kaya guluhin mo yung dinadrawing ni Chris.
Ayan.
Ayun o, sabi na.
From
Di ba?
YouTube
From
niya siya,
YouTube. Ayun o, so yung question ni Ray Taitayon. Ito pa siyang question kanina. Ang dami ko nakita eh. Ayun, so wait lang. Ito. Chris, are you ready? Ayun o, so sabi niya, have you ever experienced an art block? And what are the things you've done to overcome it? Yeah. So, common to sa mga artists, hindi mo nagkakaroon ng art block.
I know there are two things that I do to overcome art block. You know, just when you sit down and you don't have any ideas. I think one is that consuming media, which is okay. We'll explain that. You can't create from nothing. You can't create from nothing. You need fuel. Right? So, in this case, what I mean is that if you want to create art, you need to also consume art. You need to consume good art. So, if you want to make comics, and you sit down and you can't make comics, well, you need to look at good examples of comics. Or maybe something that you could use in your comics. Another thing that I do is that I scroll through Pinterest a lot.
Pinterest. You know?
Pinterest is very good at helping you find ideas to draw. So often I'll draw people. I like drawing people a lot. Just doing normal things. Maybe they're eating, or maybe they're doing some kind of cool pose, or they're just walking on the street, and so I draw the way they're walking. You know, and I'll do that. And if it's not that, maybe you've been scrolling through Pinterest and looking a lot of images. You've been consuming a lot of media, like watching anime, playing a video game, or reading. Then the other side is that you just need to sit down and do the work. You know, if you're not at the drawing table and just sitting at the drawing table and just putting lines down on the page, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
You know, so you need to sometimes you just need to push right through it.
You know?
Yep.
Ray Taitayon, you know, so hopefully nasagot ni Chris ang inyong question. So, common kasi yun, yung mga nagkakaroon ng art block, lalo sa mga artist natin. Ayun. So,
Ang kapapanalunan ni Miss Ray ay Full Stop HQ
Swag
/shirt.
shirt.
Yan, ito yung mga suot
you
namin.
know, yan ang damit na hindi mo kailangan labban dahil kusa siya naglilinis kahit 3 araw. You know? Congrats Ray Taitayon from YouTube. Ayun, no? So, may isa pa.
May isa pa. Sino
Pili pa
kaya
tayo
ang
ng
lucky
isa.
winner na makakuha
Piliin
ng
na natin
sweatshirt?
yan. Piliin na natin. Ayun, no? Race again. So, matatanggal doon si Ray Taitayon. And start na natin. You know? O, yung sound effect naman natin dyan, no? Sound effect.
Quack!
Quack,
Quack.
quack, quack, quack. Si kaya to. Sayang! Sunod sila, oh. Kita nyo. Para tayong nag-online karera dito eh, no? Ayun, no? Si
Parang kulang na lang.
Aleli Mongas Maramag. Nandiyan ka pa ba? Aleli Mongas Maramag. Nandiyan ka ba?
Aleli.
Paramdamin mo naman ang iyong presensya. Nasaan ka?
Hello, Aleli.
Aleli, nandiyan ka ba? Hinihintay namin ang iyong comment dito sa aming big screen. You know? Nandiyan ka ba? Nandiyan ka ba? Aleli?
Wala na yata
Kasi
si Aleli.
kapag wala ka, bubunot tayo ng isa pa ulit. You know, comment ka naman kahit isang paramdam lang.
Hi lang,
Yan,
ganon.
kahit hi lang, ano.
Wala.
Wala?
Ano?
Wala ba?
10, 9.
Aleli.
7,
Kanina
6.
nakikita ko, nag-ano
Oo,
siya.
nakikita ko.
Nagko-comment, marami siyang comments kanina. So, ano kaya? Nandiyan ka ba ba? Kasama mo pa kami.
Baka kumakain lang siya. 7 eh.
Baka nag-break time baka kumuha lang ng tubig.
Oo.
Aleli,
So,
magparamdam ka.
antayin natin siya.
Sige.
Nandiyan ka ba? Sa bagay, since last winner naman siya eh.
Oo.
So, yung napanalunan niya is FSHQ swag shirt. And yung mga suot natin ngayon, ito yung damit na hindi mo kailangan laban kahit 3 araw dahil kusa siya naglilinis.
Yan.
Mag-isa.
Aha.
Ayan!
Naku.
So, Aleli.
Sa
Monggas
wakas.
maramag sa wakas. Kaya no, I think artist din si Ma'am Aleli, no? You know? Ayun, wait lang, hanapin ko lang yung question ni Ma'am Aleli.
Habang hinahanap yung question ni Aleli, makukuha niyo yung swag shirt na to ha. Mabibili niyo siya sa Variety Clothing. Yan. Kung nakikita niyo yung screen natin, pakita mo nga Calvin yung screen natin. Calvs, andyan ka ba, Calvin?
Andyan ako. Anong
Ayan,
screen
so
niya?
diba,
Main.
makikita niyo yung social
Ah, okay.
media accounts ng Variety Clothing. Yan, pwede niyo silang
Yan.
i-follow. Pwede niyo silang i-message nilang Facebook page or Instagram account. Pwede kayong mag-avail nitong swag shirt. Meron female version, meron din male version.
Burger.
Burger? Gutom ka na rin?
Na.
Female burger. Ano yun? Yun na, congrats Ma'am Aleli.
Yan. Ano ba question
Wait,
niya?
yung question mo na
Aleli.
pala. Ayun no, so I think same question siya pero repeat na lang siguro natin yung answer, no? So sabi ni Ma'am Aleli, Monggas Maramag, how do you cope yourself from problems with art blocks? Ayun no, so sabi ko sa inyo, very common to sa, ano.
Yeah.
Ayun no. Ayun, ulitin na lang siguro natin yung question. Ayun, sagot.
Sure.
Go.
So what I said earlier was you can't create from nothing.
Mhm.
Right? So if you want to create art, you also need to consume art.
Mhm.
And you need to do it in a way where you're not just consuming it because you enjoy this thing, but also because you need ideas, right? So if you want to make a story about, let's say, cowboys, then you got to watch cowboy movies
Mhm.
or something that was influenced by cowboy movies. If you want to make a comic book about sci-fi samurais,
Mhm.
right?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yes, pretty much.
Space Samurai.
Space samurais. You might want to watch samurai movies or anime or read novels about samurais, their culture. You might want to look into these things and do your research, right?
Mhm.
So I mentioned a while ago that I also like to go through Pinterest, and so and Instagram, I get ideas of what to draw whenever I don't have any ideas.
Interest.
But I usually do have ideas of what I want to draw the day. So, but if I don't, I'll go to Pinterest, search up something, get myself moving.
You know?
The other thing is that if you are not, if you are, consuming a lot of art and you're still not creating, then at this point it's because maybe you're just not at your drawing table and you need to be there. Sometimes you just need to push right through it. Maybe all it takes is just to scribble some lines on a paper and then draw, or just look at a blank page for a little while until you have an idea. Did we lose our connection?
No, naglobat na naman ang ating laptop. I mean,
Camera.
camera. Ayun, no? So,
It's okay.
balikan natin si ma'am.
So, anyways, so sometimes you just need to push right through it. You just need to, I don't know, brute force right through it. Just be at your table, be at the drawing board, and then draw. Try to just push yourself. And if that doesn't work, go through Pinterest. Look at the things that you enjoy as an artist, and do that. Or tech support is back.
Ayun, no? Nalobat kasi yung camera natin. So, Ma'am Aleli Monggas Maramag, hopefully, nasagot namin. I mean, nasagot ni Chris ang ngayong question. Kasi very common naman kasi talaga ang nagkakaroon ng art block. So, yun, no? Yung suggestion ni Chris is consume art.
Consume art.
So, load ka ng movies na related dun sa dinodrawing mo. And pwede ka rin mag-visit sa Pinterest. Ako actually, personally, nag-ano ako ng Pinterest. Naghahanap ako ng mga ano doon. Tingin-tingin lang.
Inspirations,
Mga inspirations.
Tsaka hindi lang
Tingin
Pinterest,
lang.
ang dami ding mga free
may sumasayaw.
website dyan.
Ayun, no? Yan. So, tingnan naman natin yung progress ni Chris sa kanyang drawing.
So Chris, ano na nang progress mo dyan? So bali, kulang na lang ay yung kanyang hair?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of shadows on the. There's a lot of shadows on her coat.
Mm-hmm.
So I drew the silhouette of her leg, of her back, the leg in the back. This leg. Some of the wrinkles in her clothes.
Yan, no?
But yeah, she has a lot of shadows on her coat because this coat is black. So most of it is there's going to be a lot of black on this. And then of course there's her hair. And I happen to like rendering hair. So I'm saving that for last.
Yan, no? So, Ma'am Aleli, nanalo ka ng full stock HQ swag shirt. Ang damit na hindi mo kailangan laban kahit 3 araw dahil pusa sa itong naglilinis mag-isa. Ayun, no?
Habang
Yan,
tinatapos ni Chris yung kanyang drawing, no? Yan muna natin yung mga winners.
Sino ba yung ating mga winner ngayon?
Quiz Calvin, sino yung mga winners natin?
You know, wake up lang, wake up.
Ayan, wait lang. Mahirap mag-setup. Saglit lang. Ayan.
Hindi naman kasi kami professional dito sa pag-live stream. Okay lang yan.
At kung mapapansin nyo guys,
Miller.
kami nandito na kami ngayon. Dati nasa work from home kami, nasa bahay kami, kanya-kanyang cameras kami. Ngayon, sama-sama na kami for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time, you know?
Yun, so for the winners natin, si Mark, Metal Paintbrush Ink, tsaka Sketchbook. Nice.
Ayan.
Tapos sa pangalawang winner natin si Delio Alina Tablang, Metal Paintbrush, Brush Pens, and Sketchbook. Tapos ang third winner natin is si Ray
Sel.
Tayon. Sel Mandigma.
Third winner.
Brush Pens and Sketchbook. Ang fourth winner natin is si Ray Tayon, FHSQ, Full Stock HQ swag shirt. Then ang last winner natin is si Aleli Monggas Maramag. Nanalo siya ng FSHQ swag shirt. Yan.
Lagiging tongue twister ng FSHQ.
Yes. FSHQ.
Congrats sa mga nanalo. Congrats. You know. So,
Isa pa raw raffle, oh. Kung gusto mo pa ng raffle, FHSQ Poster Making 2021. Challenge natin yan currently sa ating Facebook or sa ating social media accounts. Pwede kayong sumali dyan at pwede kayong manalo ng napakamaraming exciting prizes. Pwede nyo i-visit yung details or full mechanics ng challenge sa ating social media. Congrats. Paalala ko lang din yung mga winners natin na kailangan nyo kaming i-message sa ating Facebook page
message
or
nyo
sa
yung mga
Instagram, kahit saang DM nyo kami. Kasi para maklaim niyo yung mga prizes niyo.
Right. And so congrats ulit sa mga nanalo. Yung mga nananatili pa sa ating live stream dyan, no?
Yun, natuluyan na nga ata silang nawala sa ating connection. Pupunta na naman ako sa baba. Teka lang guys wait lang. Narinig nyo ba sila? O ako nawala? Hello? Hello?
Paa?
Hello.
Basta yan.
Yun.
Sino pa?
Nawala
Meron
kayo
dito,
sa...
Japanese text
Japanese,
Hindi ko alam yung...
paano yung pronunciation?
Basta si Madam Japanese na lang. You know? Sino pa? Sino pang gusto mo shoutout dyan, oh? You know? Hello. You know? So habang tinatapos si Chris, kamusta naman Chris? I think nawala na yung camera natin eh. Yun, yan.
Siguro pwede tayong mag-ask ng questions habang
Yeah.
yung mga hindi na... Pero disclaimer lang ha, yung mga itatanong namin,
Wala nang
wala ng
prizes.
prize.
You know. So, tanungin naman natin yung viewers.
Oo,
So,
sige,
yeah.
pwede.
Tayo naman yung magtanong sa kanila. Tapos tayo bibigyan ng prizes, di ba?
Ay, gustong-gusto ko yun.
Gustong-gusto yan.
Kasi madalang lang naman tayo mabigyan ng prize dito eh. Lagi
Yun na.
tayo. Charot lang.
Hindi.
Nagsumbatan na.
Joke lang.
Joke lang, syempre.
And also guys, may tanong ako syempre. Ano namang masasabi niyo sa ginagawa ngayon ni Chris? So, do you find it amazing ba? Parang, wow. This is, ano pala,
Puro
live
malingsat
art.
lang.
Ayun, no? So, ang current na ginagawa ni Chris is yung kanya personal project. Live to live. Hindi to recorded, guys. Live to. Kapag ginalaw ko tong table, tapos sabang nag-drawing si Chris, bigla niya ako sinapak. Alam mo pa na nun.
As in, live siya.
Live to, hindi to recorded.
He's challenging me.
Ayun na. Ayun, sige, magalamin nga natin, oh. Joke lang. Ayun, no? Jmar Nagsuban. Ayun, no? Ayun, no? Seafood Potechi. Pa-shoutout po. Ayun, no? I think YouTube channel to. Or page, Seafood Potechi. Ayun, no? Ayun, no? Shoutout
Kung
po,
YouTube man
shoutout.
yan, i-subscribe nyo na. And
Ayun
syempre,
na.
huwag nyo kakalimutan i-subscribe ang Full Stack HQ YouTube channel ah.
Ayun, no? Nagiging tongue twister na naman ang Full Stack HQ natin, no? Yun, no?
Oh.
Kamusta ang ating mga viewers dyan? So, hopefully, marami kayong natutunan ngayon.
Oh.
Yun, no?
Yeah, I really hope so.
Yun, no?
So may mga plans ba kayo ngayong Valentine's Day?
Ay, yun, no? Chika-chika.
Yung love month natin.
Yun, no?
Ops.
May,
Tapos na ang laban. No.
Meron ba kayong papa-shoutout dyan? Mga baby nyo dyan, oh. Shoutout nyo na, oh. Hello. You know?
Pero di ba nung high school tayo, minsan gumagawa tayo ng mga personalized card eh, di ba? Kaya tayo nagiging
Sana all.
artist during love month eh, di ba?
Sana all
Ayun.
may bebe.
Ay, nako. Sana all daw may bebe. Ay, no? Calvin Bernardo Nugo.
Loko ka.
Joke lang. Taken na yan. Taken by Joker J. David.
Correction daw sabi ni Reese, IG daw yun. Hindi
Ayun,
yung
IG
channel.
daw. IG pala yun. Yung
follow
Seafood
nyo na
Potechi.
daw.
Ayun,
Yan,
no?
nice.
Shout out sa Cebu Paps bago matulog.
Ayun,
Sabi
no?
ni Jmar Nagsuban.
Ayun. So,
Shout out sa mga
shoutout po sa mga single dyan. Ako po, meron pa kayong less than 2 weeks para maghanap ng inyong partners para hindi malamig.
Grabe naman.
Valentine's.
Pagkatapos ng Valentine's, break ulit, no?
Ano yun, boy? Bago mag-Valentine's, break muna. Pagkatapos sa Valentine's sila ulit. Tipid.
Tipid yun, so.
Huwag naman.
Tipid tips yun, tipid.
Ayun, oh.
Ayun naman, balik naman tayo sa drawing ni Quiz Chris, no? Ano na yung progress natin dyan, Quiz? Bali, anong...
So this what I'm doing right now is just inking her little tool belt. This character has like pouches on her belt, and I'm trying to ink it as carefully as I can. And I'm also hurrying, and I'm messing up.
Ano, nagkamali ka na ba? One miss you day yan eh, di ba? Kasi
Maybe.
ink yan, ink.
Yeah, but there is always a solution. In this
Hmm.
case, it's whiteout.
Oo nga, no?
The
Siyempre,
advantage of
sa
working
white
with
canvas.
white
Oo, magaling. Ayan,
is
no?
that there is whiteout.
Ayan, no?
But it's not a perfect solution, though. So because whiteout needs to dry, and ink doesn't always work on doesn't always dry well on whiteout. You'll have to wait like a whole day for it to dry properly. So, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Another thing I could do is that I could make the corrections digitally, but that would be cheating, right?
Oo. Oo.
No,
Ayan, no?
I am not against digital art. I do most of my work digitally here at Full Stack because it makes it easier to make corrections.
Mm. Unlike sa digital, no? Kapag nagkamali ka sa actual canvas,
Yeah.
tapos hindi puti yung canvas mo. Nako. Mahirap maghanap ng correction na ano, parang correction ink.
Yeah.
Yan, no?
Actually, don't. I have no experience in painting, so I wouldn't know how to correct the mistake
Nako.
in paint. So,
Yan na.
uh,
Sabi ni Ray Taytayon, pa-shoutout po kay Angeliza May Mendoza. Birthday niya next week. Kayo, no? Happy birthday to you! Ayun, no? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
Sasabay.
to you.
Oo nga.
Sasabay yan, no? Joke lang. Ayun, no? Sabi ni Jmar Nagsuban, 14 days, jowa, tapos hiwalay ng 12 a.m. ng 14. Babay na! Ganon!
Naku, may
But-
hugot yata si Sir Jamer.
Baka gawain mo yan, Sir Jmar. Nako.
what a strategy!
Technique yun para makatipid.
Speed lang,
pag-
speed lang.
Nagsasorry ka, no? Ay! Mga galawan ni Calvin yata yun eh.
Speed lang. Speed lang yan, so.
Siguro pwede nating ipakita yung mga current works ni Chris sa kanyang... Okay ba yung IG mo? Pakita natin? Or yung ibang...
Sure.
or meron
I
ka
don't
ba dyan...
post very
Or
often.
meron ka ba dyang baon na pwede nating i-flash para makita nila yung mga works?
I do. Well, I do have my sketchbook here. The same sketchbook that some people are going to win.
Ayun, ayun,
I'm going
ayun.
to move this off to the side while I wait for a little bit of some ink to dry. Actually, you know what? I need to be careful because there are some new drawings in here, and I don't want to accidentally put our page in Facebook jail.
Facebook jail.
Yeah. Here's one I did of a clone trooper.
Ayun, no? Star Wars. Star Wars yan, di ba?
Yeah.
Trooper.
Clone trooper.
Yan, no? Sa napakalupit.
Also, I was trying to figure out on the side over here the armor. I was looking at again scrolling through Pinterest, looking for reference.
Uy, may nakita akong tao.
One of my favorite characters, Nightwing.
Yun, no?
The first sidekick to Batman. He was formerly Robin. Eventually, he grew up, became too old to be the Boy Wonder, so he became his own hero.
Amazing.
Lahat ng yan, quiz, lahat ng ang gamit mo dyan is ink.
No.
No?
Yung iba ballpen niya.
Here,
Brush pens,
here.
ganyan.
Here's something interesting. So, I was doing this drawing of a face from reference. I didn't like how it was turning out, so I stopped drawing it, and then I did it again over here, and it turned out much nicer.
You know?
Sometimes when
Amazing.
drawings aren't working, you just need to start over. There's a sketch of Bootstrap.
You know?
Ah,
Very happy Bootstrap. I don't know if I actually turned this into an illustration. I like cars. So
Yan, muscle car.
Here is I believe it's a 1969 Mercury Cougar.
mm.
You know?
Vroom. And I'm gonna finish it off with a. Let's see. Here we go. I think this one's probably the nicest drawing here. It's It's a portrait of Kristen Ritter.
Ang galing, oh.
Who's that?
Kristen
Kristen?
Ritter.
Actress. I think she's best known for her role as Jessica Jones, the Marvel
Jessica
character,
Jones.
and also I think she had a role in Breaking Bad.
Mhm.
I never watched Breaking Bad. So
Breaking
I
Bad,
don't know her
siya yung
role there.
girlfriend ni... Ano si pangalan nun? Yung
Je-
partner.
Jess.
Jessie.
Yeah.
Girlfriend ni Jessie.
So that's
You know?
my sketchbook.
Napakalupit ng ating guest ngayon, di ba? So nakita niyo yung mga previous works niya.
Mhm.
You know?
Purposefully.
Mm.
I'm trying to focus. There we go. Draw purposefully.
Yan.
Mask tape onto here.
You know? So, time is getting late and we have to end this live stream.
Yes.
You know?
Running out of time.
Yun.
So, sadly.
Yeah.
Pero pwede natin post yan sa IG mo.
Yeah, I'll post this soon. You know what? The hair is fun to draw, so I'm just gonna quickly
Oh, sige.
try and draw.
Gusto ko rin makita kung paano i-shade ni Chris yung hair.
Uh-huh.
Kasi sabi nila, yun yung isa sa mahirap i-gawin sa art. Yung hair.
Meron kasi nasabing yung technique, di ba, quiz? Ano nga yun? Yung feathering?
I like to feathering.
Mhm.
This was a technique that I use. Basically,
Mhm.
you do it with a brush, and what it is bringing your, don't know how well it's going to show up on camera. You draw with the brush. You draw a thin line, make it thick, and then go thin again, or start thick and then go thin.
Mhm.
So when you put, say, a gradient over here, then you can form a sort of gradient using feathering. So it just goes. My brush is getting dry. I don't have the best time. right now.
Kilay.
Yun yung tawag niyang feathering, yung technique.
Feathering,
Oo,
feathering.
pang hair.
So we get these lines that look like there's a little bit of gray between the spaces. Really, that's just black and white. Not the best example, but it'll do it better on the hair. So
Yan
I'm going to start off with a little bit
Mhm.
over here. And
Yun.
right over here.
Ayan. Sa mga, may mga humabol na viewers natin na meron daw,
Sabi ni Zel Chi, recorded to, di ba? Dami kong na-miss. No, hindi to recorded. Live to. We don't do records. Gusto namin live.
Mm-mm. Pero
Oo.
mapapanood nyo after live ito sa Facebook or sa YouTube channel namin. Mapapanood nyo.
Pwede mo siyang i-replay.
Yes.
Yep.
Pero syempre, huwag mong kakalimutang hindi mag-subscribe sa aming YouTube channel kung manonood ka man ng replay.
Ayun no, sabi ni Harold Swiben, hi guys, biglaan lang walang live notif, lol. Ayun no, so dapat kasi yung natin, yung notification.
I-first mo yung
Pwede nga see first di ba? Para
Or hit mo
ma-notify
yung
ka.
bell button para na-notify ka.
Yan. Tama. So, never too late.
Nice! Miss, Zay.
Zel Chi.
Chi.
Yun, basta yun.
Chinese yun
Si.
Oo,
Yun.
magulang.
Ayun nga. Replay. Sige, thanks. Nakasubscribe ako. Yun, no? Thank you.
Hindi pa nag-subscribe yun, no? Mag-subscribe
Baka
na kayo.
naman. Diba? Oh. Ayun, no? So, habang nagdadaldala kami dito, marami na nagawa sa
Si daw,
Here.
si Zel C.
So, yung technique na sinasabi ni Chris dito is feathering.
Mhm.
And,
I'm still trying to get better at the technique. Ink is a medium that's difficult to master. I'm trying to get better at it.
Sabi ni Claudette K, pa-shoutout po. Ayun no, shoutout po.
Hi,
Claudette K.
Claudette.
Hello. Welcome sa stream. Medyo patapos na tayo. Pero okay lang yan.
Dahil
Thank you pa rin sa
mapapanood pa rin
pagdating.
naman nila, diba?
Meron tayong replay.
But how about I answer some questions?
Oh,
Because there are
pwede.
still
Meron,
so
pa,
many
meron pa bang
questions.
questions dito? Pili na lang tayo, pero hindi
Ah.
na lang natin i-disclose yung pangalan.
Sige.
Ayun, no? Pili tayo. Ikaw kaya pumili, Ani.
Sige.
Mga natanong na to kanina.
Nasabi na rin yan. Digital.
Ito. Sabi niya, what device do you use to draw? And what's the best device to draw a digital art? Ayun, no?
Best device.
Actually, di ba, nung ginawa mo si Bootstrap, nag-umpisa ka sa Canvas. Di ba? Tapos, convert mo siya into digital. Tama ba?
I started on paper.
Ayun, no? Paper.
I like paper, but I do draw digitally, and I use a what was it called? A Huion Inspiron. Oh yeah,
Ayan, no?
ink.
Huion.
Huion Inspiron ink.
Mhm.
I started off with an old Wacom bamboo tablet. That's what I learned to draw on digitally, at least. And my drawing program of choice is Krita. Krita.
Kabit natin yan sa comments. Krita. Tama ba, di ba? Krita.
I use that to for all my color drawings here at Full Stack. It has a very simple way. It's got a nice brush engine, and I like its the interface. Just very usable for me. It just fits what I look for in a drawing program.
Ayan, nakikita niyo na ba yung progress ng hair? O, di ba? O ba yung difference?
Napakaganda. Kung titingnan mo dito, ako nakikita ko kasi actual eh. Sabi ko lang, wow. Ang lupit.
Parang totoo, no? Yung
Parang
talagang
totoong hair
shiny, no?
shiny na ano. Parang, ano kaya shampoo niyan?
Ayaw magsabi ng
Ayaw
brand,
ko sabi ng brand. Baka bukas may sponsor na tayo.
Pero bakit hindi, di ba?
Oh, why not, di ba? Pero,
Parang kailangan ko yan. Char lang.
nako. Baka naman. Parang kulay yata ako ng buko eh. You know?
So, importante na may nililive kang white space na kapag ginagamit mo
Yeah.
yung feathering technique. Para saan yan, Quiz?
That's what makes it look like it's shiny.
Sinag ng araw.
Mm-hmm.
Also try to change up the shapes a little bit, but might have to. I might have to do a little bit of corrections here and there. Not entirely sure of a lot of the decisions I made in this drawing, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get better at by practicing and studying, because practice does not make perfect; it makes permanent, right? As I
Yes.
discussed earlier. Okay. Okay. So what's another question? Oh. Yeah.
Pili pa tayo. Meron
I
pang-
think last question na natin to, Quiz, no?
Ayun, no, ito.
I have.
Parang controversial na question naman to.
Oh, masyadong controversial ah.
Willing
Pero
ka bang
maganda siyang
sumagot?
itanong. Maganda
Ito.
siyang itanong.
Sabi niya kasi, is it true that good artists copy?
Yeah.
You know? Mm.
Well, because we learn from copying.
Mm.
When a person is teaching us, we copy what they do.
Mm.
When you're learning to write, you copy what other people are writing. You know, you copy the letter, how another person writes their letters. When you're learning to walk, you learn by copying your parents and how they walk. The same is still true for artists. When you're learning to draw, you copy a photograph, you copy another one of your favorite artists, and that's how you learn.
Mm.
Now, I think it becomes controversy when you start publishing work that is copied. That's when you get into trouble.
Mhm.
Mm.
But when you're learning and just doing it for yourself, and just trying to improve your skill, yes, you should copy. Musicians do it all the time.
Yeah.
They do covers of music when they're starting off. They don't just straight ahead do their own. And so it's the same with art. Now, I think so. I guess in this case, this I guess you can call is a copy of a photograph that I saw, but I changed it a lot, right? Like the you could look at I could show the photograph. Well, I don't have it right now, but I could show if I were to show someone the photograph, they would see the similarities, and they would see what I did differently. You know, the different choices I made in the drawing. So, yes,
Good artists.
good
copy.
artists do copy. It's just that great artists get good enough where they no longer need to. Now, here's the thing. There are still great artists that are still copying. You know? But the thing is that at this point, they're not copying good artists. They're copying masters. These are great artists, and they're copying artists that are better than them because there's always a higher level.
Ayan. So nakikita niyo na? Medyo kita niyo na yung shiny hair niya. Hair? May hair niya.
Hair. Ano,
Yan.
nagtatang
Yan
twister
yung
na yata.
Almost finished product.
Teka lang, merong tanong si Harold Swiven. Sabi niya, when publishing the created comics, do you also hand draw the words or fonts, or you usually scan it then add the words through a computer software?
When I published my first comic, I only have one comic that's officially published so far. And it was just a short 4-pager for an anthology, but it did go out to stores throughout the United States. When I did that, I typed it digitally.
Yeah.
However, I've grown an interest in hand lettering, which is why I invested in buying an Ames lettering guide for who I mentioned earlier for hand lettering. I bought it overseas. The shipping was twice the price of the product itself. Obviously, I bought it with other tools. Like I bought a bunch of pens. I bought a T-square to go with it. So don't save up on shipping. But yes, this right here, this is hand lettering. This right here is hand lettered. Just done by hand. So I'm developing that process.
Kung titingnan mo nga, para siyang gumamit ng printer eh. Parang font talaga siya eh.
True.
You know, yung mga ginagamit niya kanina, handwritten lahat yon.
Tsaka yung mga index cards niya kanina, di ba?
Oh, yung mga index cards.
The index cards, all hand lettered.
Maniwala kay Mansa, hindi. Handwritten.
Akala ko nga nung una, talagang printed
Pinrint
siya.
niya, oo.
Napakalupit. You know?
Ayan. So, ayan na yung...
Maybe why I prefer the hand lettering over fonts. It's because when you do art on paper, it feels organic, and there are you make a lot of mistakes. You can't avoid them, and so it's imperfect. So when you put mechanical lettering on top of perfect lettering on top of imperfect art, they tend to not fit together.
Contrasting siya.
They kind of contrast a little bit. But when something is hand lettered and hand drawn, it starts to feel like they belong together.
Something new to learn na naman.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite artists. They hand letter themselves. I'm just like, you know what? I gotta do that too. It's great. Or if they're not hand lettering, they have someone else hand lettering for them.
Pwede pala yun.
Yeah, it was in I think also in Japanese comics. I'm not entirely sure about that one, but in American comics they have a person whose job is to just to put the words in the artwork. That's their job. That's their career. There are entire careers that way. Okay, that line is just too difficult to make, so I am just going to use. I'm going to use a pen. There's this line over here that's part of a pants. Oh no! I messed up a little bit.
That's okay.
That's okay. They will correct it later. All right. So I think we're about to end now. So this is about as far as I'm going to get tonight.
Wow.
Yun na.
All right.
Kanina hindi yan possible. Di ba?
I still need to finish her hand. Let me clean up some lines here and there. Make it look nicer.
So yung finish nito ay ipopost
Post
mo,
mo.
boys? Sa iyong IG?
I'll
Sa
post
Instagram.
it on Instagram in a few days.
Yeah.
I think I'll also color it.
Yun no? Parang gusto ko yung makita yung colored na.
Parang exciting
finish,
no?
Diba? Yun no.
Yun.
And guys, so follow niyo si Chris para makita nyo at iSketchon. iSketchson.
Ay, Katson. Yun, thank you sa mga nanood mula kanina. Thank you very much. Saka sa mga mga nanatiling sumusuporta sa atin. Yun, subscribe lang kayo sa ating channel and follow us.
Subscribe sa ating
Yan.
mga social media accounts. Meron din kaming Instagram at YouTube channels.
Yes.
And also, tulad ng lagi ko sinasabi sa ating mga live stream, this is not the end. It's the bright future. We're looking ahead. This has been a live stream Q&A with Full Stack HQ. As usual, we are your hosts. I'm Nix.
I'm Annie.
I'm Calvin.
We are with Quiz.
Tada!
Guys, see you in the tech world.
Bye-bye!
Go Chris. Go Chris.
Wait
One
lang,
more
may
thing.
pahabol siya.
I think I catch this. Wanted to end this on a quote by Neil Gaiman, writer Neil Gaiman, in a commencement speech that he did back in 2012, which I believe was for the College of Arts in California. So the quote goes, "Life is sometimes hard. Things go wrong in life and in love and in business and in health and all the other ways that life can go wrong. And when things get tough, this is what you should do. Make good art." I'm serious. Husband runs off with a politician, make good art. Leg crushed and then eaten by mutated boa constrictor, make good art. The BIR is on your trail, make good art. Cat suddenly explodes, make good art. Somebody on the internet thinks what you do is stupid or evil or that's all been done before, make good art. Probably things will work out somehow. Eventually time will take the sting away, but that doesn't matter. Do what only you do best. Make good art. Make it on the bad days and make it on the good days too. All right. Just want to thank everyone again for hanging out with us on this live stream.
You know,
Yes.
Chris Isaacson.
with bonus code pa from our guest, Chris iSketchon. And follow nyo yung IG niya, guys. Marami kayong makikita na art na ginagawa niya. You know?
Yun.
So, yun nga, no? Sabi ko nga.
Salamat
Bye-bye.
guys.
Salamat sa pagstay sa aming live stream Q&A. See you ulit sa susunod. Follow nyo ang aming mga
Bye-bye.
social media accounts, ang YouTube channel, meron tayong IG rin. At syempre, yung ating poster making event. Baka gusto nyo check out dahil pwede rin kayong manalo.
Deadline yan sa Feb 13. Kaya
You know?
submit na kayo guys.
Sabit-sabit na. You know?
Bye!